Alright, welcome back to Don't Think, Just Charge. I'm Dave, he's Harvey, and today we're bringing you our tier list for the Grimdark Future Factions of one-page rules. Let's get into it. So it's been a long time coming. A lot of people have asked us for this. We've kind of held off for a little while, but we think that this is probably the right time in 3.5 to have this conversation. Now, this is just Grimdark Future. This is Grimdark Future Factions in isolation. This is a focus on 2,000 points. If you are enjoying this video, if this video does well, we can go on and have a look at Age of Fantasy and maybe mixed factions as well. Obviously, if we did a mixed factions video, that would be so much longer. That is like multiple days of podcasting for you you're enjoying, but we'll get there maybe at some point in the future. For now, we're going to focus on Grimdark Future. There are a few really important caveats before we start. So please bear these in mind when you're considering what we're discussing. The first and the biggest point that we probably don't say enough, when we discuss the differences in army books and units and special rules in OPR, we aren't talking as though one thing is 200%, 50% better than another. We really are talking small percentage points. And with that in mind, as you'll see on the screen right now, we are actually ranking our tier list in those percentage points of difference. We are starting with a band of 0, which is your average, which is what is going to be the middle ground of OPR. It is a calculator-based game. It is a very well-balanced game. So when we talk about a higher or a lower tier, we are talking 5 to 10% differences in the power, in the capabilities, in the expectancy of these factions. We don't say it enough in our other videos, but that is what we're talking about. And with that in mind, that's why you can see on your screen the range that we've got for this tier list. So that is just such an important thing to say. The other things are still important, but carry less weight. We're going to be focusing on the base game. We might have a discussion in there about what to expect for tournament play, for progressive play, for the game days where we expect to see progressive game modes involved, but really we're prioritizing on the base game. The next point is that for those of you who are just going to skip to the end and look at the final screenshot, the discussion that we're going to have is going to be so much more important than the actual final ranking of these. And on top of that, if you skip to the point where we discuss, say we do Ratmen Clans first because it's at the top of the list, and you go, Brill, Ratmen Clans are in the whatever bracket they put it in. That might not be the case at the end. We haven't rehearsed this. This is unscripted, like all of our shit. We just kind of natter. We'll have a bit of a chat beforehand, but we don't actually fully know exactly what we're going to say. So our views might change the more conversation and context we have in the course of the video. So the discussion is going to be very important. The next most important thing to think about is that just because Army A is in a higher tier than Army B, or 2 tiers higher, that doesn't mean that the lower tiered army is going to lose to the higher tier army. This is a generalist approach. As we discussed in our last video, there are multiple ways to build so many different army books in OPR that a lower tier army has every ability to beat a higher tiered army. And it really isn't a case of saying, right, this army's in top tier, this army's in lowest tier, so the game is sorted. And that brings us on to the final point. For you playing at home, any game is winnable. Absolutely any game of OPR is winnable. Bring what you enjoy, play to your play style, play to your strengths, and just make sure that you don't give up before a game starts. Harvey and I constantly have this conversation that when we win games at events, when we do well, really it's because we've made the fewest mistakes out between us and our opponent. The number of times I think, this game was even, and my opponents just blundered their most valuable piece. They've misprioritized their activation order or something, and then I'm just going to punish that and win. Really, it makes up for any trash army that I bring. And we're going to have a lot of like quite intense conversations about the strength of armies. And we might anecdotally refer to a time where we've won with that army, and really it could have just come down to our opponents misplaying. So this is such a broad spectrum. OPR is not a solved game. This is not the be-all and end-all tier list. And on top of that, there's going to be a balance patch in a few months, so this might be irrelevant anyway.
Nah, fuck that. This is the be-all and end-all balance patch. The balance patch tier list. We are the goats of OPR. We know everything. This 3.5 tier list will stand until the end of 3.9. This is the only one
I was actually about to say hello to those listening in 2030. If this is still correct, well, then we are the goats, the best of all time for our foresight. Yeah, amazing. But with all of that said, I did make a joke actually when I was messaging, when we were talking about this last week. I was saying I'm going to get a few beers because this is very much a drink a beer and have a nice chat sort of one. Yeah. But then I went and got poorly. Woe is me, I'm on antibiotics, and so I'm not drinking at the moment. But here's my Ribena, my squash. I've got my water ready. I hope you guys have got your drinks and your snacks and your paintbrushes ready for our listeners who enjoy painting while they do this. Cheers to you hobbyists at home.
I'm on the hard shit tonight. I've got just had my Lemsip. I've had headaches the past 3 days. So this is Don't Think Just Charge at its fucking finest. Strap in. The company's going to be top level. The analysis is going to be deep.
Got the ibuprofen ready. Beer and pretzels, paracetamol, and nap time, I think.
I can't wait for bed.
Let's get into it, folks.
Yep.
So, how do you want to do this? Are we going to... It looks like... Thank you to Harvey for setting this up as well, using this website. We're not sponsored. It's free. It looks like it's kind of shuffled the armies around. Should we just go top to bottom?
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Well, I think we have a really good ability here to start with what we mean about the middle ground, where most things sit. So I'm going to pick top right. Titan Lords. I think they do go quite... there we go. I don't know how this website works. I think that they sit quite squarely in the mid-ground at the 0%ers.
Yeah, I think Titan Lords are good, right? Solid army. I think they really shine in progressive, where they can kind of eke out a bit of an advantage early on, while they still have a high number of activations.
Yeah.
The Titan Lord curse really is the fact that you only have 5 activations. And if in the base game you can play into that, wipe out some of the tough 9s and reduce them down to a couple of big players, and if you're surviving with some chaff, then you can really easily just decap points and stuff. Yeah. Depending on the size of model they're using, I guess. But yeah, I think overall Titan Lords in the position they're in now are just quite nice. I think the biggest thing that they've got, which is kind of sad, is actually their army wide. I think Steadfast is one of those rules that bounced back and forth during the beta, and where it landed is probably the best position it was in, but really it's just not great of a rule.
Yeah, I agree.
It ends up being a bit of a point tax.
On Titan Lords, it's not that great of a rule. If it were on something like Alien Hives, who've got another morale buff, or another Horde army, then it would be a lot stronger, because those are the sorts of armies you expect to shake. But these guys were already a qual 3-up army. They're passing... they're failing a third of their morale checks, so this isn't the best for them. I think I agree with everything you're saying there. They are punishable. Someone's going to be bringing at 2,000 points 5 or 6 activations. So if you bully the smaller ones, then you're going to be able to win the activation game. They're susceptible to deadly. They haven't really got good ways of padding chaff. And the most important thing, as you've touched on, is that my 75-point unit of recruits has the same point capping power as your 500-point Hammer Titan. I've forgotten what they're all called now. The Errant Titan, the 300-point one.
Yeah, Pilgrim Mini Titan, something like that.
The Pilgrim Mini Titan. All of these things have got the exact same point capturing power as the weakest chaff in the game. Yeah. And so that doesn't make Titan Lord shit. I think they are in a very good spot after 3.5 with the introduction of the Errant Mini Titan. Is that right? That's the tough 9 guy.
I think so, yeah.
But they're just not winning in droves to make me think that these guys should push up the rankings.
Yeah, Titan Lords is also one of those armies that's heavily affected by the number of objectives you roll.
Yeah.
If you roll 5 objectives, they can be really, really stretched thin, which is not good for Titan Lords. If you roll 3 objectives, then your win rate goes up a bit. But because of that, because you lose well, you don't lose, but you're more likely to lose a 5 objective game and more likely to win a 3 objective game. It puts them firmly kind of closer to the middle as well, right? Because one thing that makes armies powerful is reliability. Honestly, like if they just had Fearless instead of having Honor Code, I think there'd be probably maybe a little pip up, but yeah, there's a couple of things about the game that makes them not work quite as well as it would. But to be honest, like before this, they would have been all the way at the bottom, right? Before the most recent patch.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like it's increased their viability massively, right? 3 units is just not enough to play the game.
Completely agree with you there. So you may find as well throughout the course of this video that our default is to put things in that 0% category. It's because we do think that the game is pretty well balanced and it is so close. We'll try and keep things a little bit more interesting and push it, but you're going to find this yellow band here in the middle is going to be very full by the end of this video.
This is a video for Tano. We're just putting everything in 0, so you feel good.
Well done. You got a balanced game. No, we are not that. We're not shells.
Everything is 0. Rebel Guerillas in minus 10%. that's the video.
Shall we do that now? Shall we actually just bite the bullet, find Rebel Guerillas, now we've mentioned it, and just stick them where they do belong.
Oh God, we're not going to spend 10 minutes looking for them. There they are. They're at the bottom already. Yeah, Rebel Guerillas. You know, what can you not say about Rebel Guerillas? Like, it's just like...
Rebel.
Bill Bailey fans out there. Yeah, Rebel Guerillas are just like... I don't know. Like, they just don't have quality anywhere.
Yeah.
They have no way of making it more reliable. They've got AP spotters when they needed precision spotters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like it's just an uphill battle with Rebel Guerillas, right? The one cool thing they've got going for them, I say this all the time, is the fortified vehicles, which I think are really, really cool, really cheap and interesting pieces. But there's just nothing like if you're taking the Jeep, there's nothing to put in it that makes it exciting. Their hero auras are really underwhelming for the army as well. I think they get like Bane when shooting, I think, or Rending when shooting, one of the two.
Yeah.
And the units just aren't worth putting that on, right? Because auras have a fixed cost, and the units are all worse than the fixed cost unit, I guess. And Jeeps have only got 6 slots, so you can't double stack a unit into there. The long range shooty walker's pretty good, but it can't carry an army. Probably the best thing about Rebel Guerillas is the fact that they have aircraft transport.
Yeah.
And the eternal Rebel Guerillas problem, which we'll say on every video we ever talk about them, is that you should just play HDF, right? HDF have got all the tools that Rebel Guerillas need. So it leaves Rebel Guerillas in the dust a bit, even if hit and run is kind of a cool rule for a close range shooting army, which I think it is. But yeah, they just don't have the units that then take advantage of it, I guess, in the same way. So yeah, unfortunately in the bin for Rebel Guerillas.
Yeah, they very much are in the bin army, right? I'm just trying to find the statistic on it, but somewhere I have got the details of like the average, I mentioned it in the last video, the average quality and defense of every army in the game. And I'm sure that Rebel Guerillas is going to be like a 4.8, a 4.9. They don't output. Their weapon options are crap. Their vehicles are pretty naff. They aren't defensive. They don't have morale mitigation. All of that sort of thing is just not good enough. Here we go. I found it. Their average quality is 4.6 and their average defense is 4.6.
Yeah.
So they're just not that good.
They're like a low quality swarm army. They're not impossible to win with, as we said at the start. But I think what they want to be doing, like I think the identity they kind of had before was like spotters plus ambush was kind of their style. Durable vehicles, spotter ambush stuff. Then the spotters got changed to AP, and they lost like all the synergy there that they ever needed, really, because now they put AP on things, but they never hit, so it doesn't make a difference. So yeah, absolutely. On to the next one. I think nothing more to say.
Did I have one more thing to say about them?
Say they are poop.
No, other than saying Dave no likey.
Dave hates Rebel Guerillas.
It wasn't actually about them. It was a comment that I saw that Tano dropped in one of the Patreon chats the other day. The fortified rule, the -1 AP rule, I think he was saying something to the lines of, when that was introduced, it was just put on the Ankylosaurus for the Saurian Starhosts.
I saw that,
And that was the only instance of it. And since then, obviously, it has expanded. But it was there as a way of making that Def 2 up even better. And it was unique at the time. And how the tides change.
I mean, yeah, and honestly, an effect like that, unique to Def 2, is obviously the best place for it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of weird when you see it on stuff with Def 5, and you're like, well, yeah, I guess,
What's
right?
the point?
Yeah, I mean,
Eternal Wardens players, we feel the pain. All right, let's pick another one. We're going to keep going top to bottom. Let's bring the Ratmen Clans in, right?
Okay.
Our Ratty boys. Now, I think these guys belong in the plus 5% club. It's going to be hard to justify the 10% and hires. I think they're in the 5%ers.
Yeah, and I think it's basically just hazardous.
I don't think it's just hazardous.
I think hazardous as a rule brings them pretty heavily up. Right?
It really heavily does, right?
Cheap AP4 is incredibly good.
It's cheap AP4 in a... Let's find actually these guys' stats out, right? Again, a relevant thing to talk about is the averages here. If I can just find where it says...
I will say what these averages, right? An average of every unit in an army isn't that useful because...
No.
That's not how the lists are built, right? Like if the statistic was an average of the quality of every army built in Army Forge, then you probably get a more representative spread of actually what it would be useful for. Adam, hit me up in the DMs, bro. I've got some SQL for you. But yeah, I mean, like Ratmen Clans, I think they have hazardous, which is a huge increase,
massive
in potency. I think they have the best sniper in the game, right?
Yeah.
Easily, right?
Yeah.
Like Scout 18 inches hazardous, right? Like
Scout 18 inches hazardous, Qual 5 up, Def 5 ups. They're really cheap, but then they get reliable hitting on 2 ups with the takedown. They're like 95 points.
And yeah, you lose
AP4.
models with hazardous, but do we really care that much? Probably not, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's 180 points, is it, for them doubled up? Maybe a bit more with the hazardous rifles.
Is it in Fantasy or Grimdark Future where it's the 5-point upgrade?
For the hazardous, you mean? Or
yeah, for the hazardous improvement on the Ratmen Clans.
Yeah, it's 5 points. Yeah, so 200 points. 200 points for 6 attacks. AP4.
AP4, Qual 2 up. Like you're just melting things.
Yeah, I mean, 200 points is not a lot to kill a caster or whatever who's going to have a disproportionate effect on the game.
Yeah,
and yeah, they lose one model every time they shoot, kind of thing. But who cares, right?
Right?
Yeah, even just doing 6 AP4 shots at a tough 12 thing, doing 5 wounds to it can really swing the game.
Yeah.
And for that, you lose 40 points worth of. Well, I guess if you miss one shot, yeah, who cares?
Yeah, you don't care. I think.
Yeah.
Then you've got that. You've got scurry movement abilities, very very powerful in OPR, and the fact that they've got this high elf fleets rule, the 2-inch everywhere. Reinforcement. What an incredible ability that is! Getting your chaff, the things you want to move onto points and die, the ability to bring it back and move it onto points from any side of the board. So good.
Yeah, especially good in base OPR, right? Where the end of the round is all that matters, right? You can throw them away in the first 2 rounds and you're good to go.
You just get to aggressively play up the board.
First 3 rounds, but yeah. Very nice. It's very, very hard to deal with a big stack of things coming onto the board later in the game, right? Like really 20 wounds is really, really hard to deal with. And yeah, if it comes on, they can't do it on the turn it comes down.
They can't. So they have cap points the turn they come down.
Yeah, so as long as they die by round 3, then they come on. No, sorry, they have to be die by round 2. Yeah.
But also, it's
also if they're shaken or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So you just kind of push them at the board, and your opponent is stuck there, and the best thing they can do is not attack it.
Exactly, and then
which is really annoying. Yeah, and then they're just walling things off, and they're really cheap, and it's really annoying. So.
That's so
very unconventional for OPR to have such a unique rule in armies. And 2 unique rules, actually, right? Both reinforcement and hazardous stacked up together. They also have those really, really great quality 4 Def 5 weapons teams who also get...
The weapon experts.
The weapon experts, which have got relentless blast hazardous. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Really high potential for big... Yeah, like... They're just great, right? They'll wipe out basically all infantry squads, and because they're tough 3, they're not really doing much damage back to themselves. And for only 360 points, you can just get 6 of those attacks. That's really, really far to be shooting. Sure, like on average, you only hit 4 of them, but that's
390 with the 30-inch blast 3 hazardous guns. But
still, yeah,
we're in the same points band here of just something that will obliterate nearly anything. Like, what does that do to a unit of custodians?
Probably not that much in the end, but
Yeah,
it does enough, right? Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think that unit is
9
probably
hits
best spent just a stack of 3 and just rolling the dice every round, right? Using it as less than 10th of your army, but that can easily punch up and cause troubles and bait your opponents wrong into the map and stuff. Either way, that's a specific thing. They've got a great spellcasting list because of Hazardous as well. So I think Ratmen Clans are they're doing well, right? They've got decent scouters, especially with evasive smoke bombing stuff, and like the death wheel charger guys are great.
Death wheel, burrower tank, the different types of rat ogres, weapon experts, sharpshooters, go horde, go elite, mobility tricks. Like they have a lot of things. Like, I think this is one of the armies that I'd say are at the top of their band. They're very close to this 10%er.
Yeah, and they're just very flexible as well as a book, right? Like we're not talking specific lists here. You can build whatever you want with them, which obviously increases their viability.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Should we do the Alien Hives? They're up here now. Should we bring them on?
Go. Yeah.
Now, where do they go? They're definitely in the 10%ers. Are they in the over 10%ers?
I would put them in the over 10%ers. I think, like, you know, if you watched our list building video, one of the things we said is look for mobility and look for AP. Well, this army has AP on basically every single unit, which is just an insane level of AP. It means they're so reliably hitting. There was a discussion the other day in one of the Patreon channels about AP4, and some people were saying, like, it's wasted unless they're Def 2. Well, yes, but is it really wasted if you're maximum effectiveness every time? Right, like is that really a waste? Like, sure, like points wise, you might not rather have AP4 in the one circumstance where you're attacking a Def 6 thing, but in terms of I have a unit and it can hurt everything in the game, that's a lot of value, right? Like nothing likes being charged by a unit of Assault Grunts because a 20 stack carries 8 AP4 attacks, right? And if they've got Furious Aura, then all of a sudden it's more, right? Like it's a very, very scary thing to face up against an Alien Hives army, and the army wide they got. The +1 to morale is actually super relevant for their list, right? Like, so we often talk about like the DAO Union is next, right? Yeah, like when I talk about how good shot and targeting advisor is, I'll say stuff like you don't have to pay for morale, right? And that's because when you charge a DAO Union unit, it just folds and it's really expensive, right? So you're losing the game if your opponent's killing it, right? Because it's so expensive. But Alien Hive stuff is also relatively cheap. Like it's a lot of like ablative wound stuff with AP hidden beneath it. So having morale in that situation is great because you lose a bunch of guys who won't really do much because they don't really have the AP weapons. You pass your morale because you're army wide, and now you have basically a full effectiveness unit because all the good stuff was buried in the bottom of it, which I think is very, very potent. And that's all without saying the two shining stars of Alien Hives as well. The Hive Lord, who is by far the best T12 monster in the game, especially in base game where you can actually take ambush if you wanted to. But like, what is it like rapid charge? Rapid charge, regen, rapid charge, or furious, or resistance if you want it.
So the exclusive auras are rapid charge, furious, shielded, caster 3, and increased shooting range.
Shield is what I'm thinking. Yeah,
shielded. But then it's separate to that. You can also give it ambush and flying, and separate to both of those categories, you can choose either resistance, so the 6 up and the 2 up against magic, or regen, and the regen's 40 points on it. So just you have such versatility in your upgrade ranges. Before we consider the weapons, you're probably not bringing him as a shooty kind of guy, but if you wanted to, you can, and he can still churn out enough hits. But you've got the range in the weapons for whatever you want there. AP4 deadly or blast, or AP1 rending sort of stuff. And he's super tanky, being def 2 up with probably regen for very cheap. He's qual 3, and with his army-wide, it makes him a 2-up morale, and he's fearless on top of that. I don't know what the percentage chance of failing a morale check with the Hive Lord is, but it's damn low.
1 in 12, yeah.
Just...
and that's without
less
talking
than
about
10%.
He's got 16 attacks as well. So he's capped out on his Balval capabilities. This is like the most stacked top 12 you can get, really, outside of having quality 2, I suppose. Kind of nuts. Rivaled only, I guess, by the demons, but they don't have fearless. In fact, and you have to go actually to the top 18 before you get quality 2, don't you?
Do they even get quality 2? Oh, you mean in Demons? Sorry, in Demons. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, in Demons. Yeah.
Do you want to know what's also quite funny? We haven't really dwelled on it. I don't think you're doing it for this reason, but in the spell list is Unpredictable Fighter. So it's on a level 3 spell. You target 3 enemy units to do it, but you can make this Hive Lord hit on 2-ups.
Yeah, for sure. It's just the most stacked of 12 ever, right? Like
he's a juicy boy.
And to be honest, like, you can run Shielded on him, right, and give him a 1-up, right? 1-up with regen is perfectly good. So lots of stuff you can do. And like classic Alien Hives, you have access to a caster 3 in your monsters, right? So you can still, you're not sacrificing like a caster going to bring it. You can bring a really cheap caster 3 that way. And then on top of that, you also have the other best hero in the game, the Grunt. The Grunt Veteran, 20 points.
20 points.
The lowest to the ground hero you can possibly get in the game.
The cheapest unit in Grimdark Future.
Somebody put in our Discord the other day, was it kill, marry, avoid, or kill, marry, avoid, or whatever it was?
Kill.
Snog, marry, kill. For the Grunt Veteran from Alien Hives, the Grunt Leader from DAO,
and the sister from
Thingy, yeah. And it was like, trick question, you don't kill any of them because they're not worth the points. It was. I'll put it up on screen wherever it was. I can't remember who it was. Was it Toad Brews? Maybe it was.
Don't know.
But that really made me laugh, and that's basically what that is, right? Like a 20-point hero is really hard to justify killing, like with your 200-point unit, because you're going to overkill it massively. You're not going to get like a very efficient activation, but you still have to deal with it because it's still an activation. It still contests points, right? So you can just slap flying on it for 5 points. It comes down whenever it wants to, or it can be a great bust stick for half your units. Furious is in there. It gets all the upgrades it needs to fit into every unit in the Hives list, because they've actually got a really, really non-restrictive list for putting heroes and stuff. Like some things have like, resistance and stuff that they need, but Alien Hives doesn't have that, right? You can just slap that in whatever you want. So yeah, very, very potent hero. And I think and then like I said this to you the other day, but Alien Hives have the ability to build every list in the game.
They do,
because they have 3 swarm units, right? 3 horde units. They've got 3 10-stack units, which means they can easily bring 9 of those, right? Up to 20 stacks, right? I don't know how the point costs work in the end. You might not be able to actually bring 9 of them, but you can bring lots and lots of dudes if you want to do a swarm. You also then have like a billion tough 12 units to pick from, right? Like a bunch of them came down. You can even pick up to a tough 15, tough 18 in the Hive, whatever it's called. The one who came down recently.
The Hive Titan.
The Hive Titan, yeah. The Hive Titan came down, so he's actually affordable in the base game as well.
Tough 18, yeah.
Yeah, so like you just have like, it's just an unholy stack of stuff, really. You can go full ambush with them because they've got ambush transports. You can do whatever you want. So yeah, I think it's really hard to justify them not being so high up, because one of the things we often say is like options win games.
Yeah.
And options, that's what this is, right? Like it's the ability to pick whatever you want for whatever list you want. They've got all the tricks in the game that they really ever need.
Yeah. In days gone by, my favorite way of building lists was one of good units that all fit. I've spoken about locks and keys before. One of each unit that does a specific role, and then making sure I deploy it correctly on the battlefield. And if one unit does 2 roles, bada bing, bada boom, we're doing well. In 3.5, it does feel like we're tending towards the U way of building, which is 2 of all the good units, and then 1 extra one going in there as well. But with Alien Hives, it's really hard to decide which ones to put in, because there are so many. Like, do you want to go caster heavy? Do you want to go tanky? Horde, as you say? And then if you do go for a Monster Mash, what's the drawback of Monster Mash? Not enough activations. Well, they've just got fucking Hive Swarms at 70 points and Grunt Veterans. So you can just cap out at 10 activations with, 2 Grunt Veterans, 3 Hive Swarms. How much does that fucking cost you? 210, 250 points? 1750 points for Monster Mashing when you've got the best tough 12 in the game with the Hive Lord in that roster.
Yeah.
Like, you're not losing on activations. And then, oh no, I have to make a morale check. I got +1 to morale.
Yeah, exactly.
They're pretty damn
very, very, very good. So yeah, but they've always been like that, right? They've taken a couple of nerfs here and there. But ultimately, like, they just have the things they need, and they always have.
The depth of roster is really what they've got.
Yeah.
Which
and like in the beta, they originally got like the bloodthirsty rule, which I think was like 6s that are unblocked do double wounds. Or no, it was 6. It was 1s to defend triggered another hit, wasn't it? Right. which was insane with Blast. Obviously, that was just the biggest. Like that would have been insane if that actually made it to live.
I think it could go in infinite.
Yeah, because you get a hit, it would get 3 more. They roll, they get a 1, 3 more. Yeah, there was no end to it. It was just like hits. It wasn't like because it was the defense roll, not the attack roll. And that was an aggressive rule. And when Alien Hives players in beta got it taken off them, they were like, no, we want that. Like, yeah, no shit. Of course you want that. That's fucking insane. Of course you want
that. It's mental.
But Plus One Morale is also really good.
Plus One Morale is a fantastic place to end up. Like they also had like loads of their high AP weapons nerfed, and they looked in a fine spot, and then all those nerfs were undone, and so now they've got access to Assault Grunts with A2 AP4 on 2 of the models in a 110-point unit, right? The Hive Lord can just rip out with a load of AP4 as an ambushing or a rapid charging unit with regen and fucking insane defense. Like, they've got so much going for them. The thing that, just when I played you at that last event in Bristol, what was it you were bringing? Shadow Leapers or something that just had AP4 stacked in it, and my Custodians just melted.
Yeah, it was Ravenous Beasts.
Ravenous Beasts.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just hit some AP4 and some Rav Beasts. Brought a bunch of Scout with Soul Snatchers, a plane, some of the indirect shooters. Like none of this. Like if you went to the Alien Hives list, they're probably not even the top units. Those ones I've just listed there, right? And that day like flew by. It was easy, right? Like, I just had the tools to do with everything, and I brought like when I showed you the list, you were like, "You're taking the piss. What is this list?"
Yeah, exactly, right.
But actually, it was great. So very potent.
Very potent. Alien Hives is something that we can talk about at length. Let's go on to the next one. We're going to talk about another very powerful army here, the DAO Union. Now, let's start by putting them in the middle, and we'll move them from there, I think, as this discussion goes on. I have to remind myself we are focusing on the base game. So I think if I stick them into the plus 5%, do we want them to go into the 10%? That's the real question. I don't think we do.
I mean, they're definitely above Ratmen Clans, and I would push them all the way up to 10%, to be honest. I think the one thing that DAO does is it just like hard counters some lists, right? Like if you bring like a full Scout list with all the bells and whistles, some lists just can't deal with it, right? And they just die on the approach. A DAO list that gets to do all its shooting first is going to injure your army so much that you just can't come back into the game, which I think is very potent. I think their list overall, their book, like their army book, some of the units definitely need a bit of help. But I think just the hyper optimization of damage in the list makes it really hard to say no to, right? I think like it's a really high skill cap army, right? Like you can lose the game very, very easily from just a simple thing like forgetting you have a -3-inch charge range aura.
Yeah.
Right? Because your opponent forgets that stuff all the time. And it's also stuff like that that's really potent, right? They have like stealth and -3 charge range, and it's stuff that you just like don't notice in the game until your opponent measures and they go like in all the games I play with DAO, at some point someone's gone like 11 inches trying to charge, and I go, oh no, I've got an aura, and they go like, well, this unit can do nothing now, right? I've wasted a whole activation. So I think they're really, really good.
I think it's the ability to have your core units absolutely wreck something on just 2-ups. I think that the stacking of good shot plus TV, because of the PDF basis that army books are calculated on, has caused... I might be completely wrong about this, but just it feels like they're too cheap for what you can get out of it for something to shoot on qual 3 up.
I don't think that's a PDF problem because those armies rules are based to the units. If they're upgrades, that's when they're problematic.
Right. Yeah, you are right. No, I'm
also
wrong
like,
about that.
For the most part, like DAO use their base weapons anyway, right? They don't really take weapon upgrades.
Yeah, it's hard to really quantify because I think that
they're just hyper aggressive, right?
They're very aggressive,
right? They pay nothing for their defense. They use things that help with that, like -1 to hit and minus charge range, which are very strong abilities that don't look very strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, just hyper optimized towards offense will fit a very specific style of player, me. I think they have real potential to win a lot of games before the game has started. There's just plenty of matchups that they still really struggle in. But I think finding the right list for DAO is part of reading like your local meta and kind of figuring that out, right?
Yeah.
I would say don't sleep on the transports, because the transports are really good.
Well, the transports have -3-inch charge range attached to them, don't they?
And stealth, yeah, you can get both of them.
And like,
yeah, and they also have the piercing shooter buff in them. Yeah,
I think
really
actually,
good.
So yeah, I think the summary kind of is that they are hyper optimized for damage output, which is really, really powerful in OPR. But there's also, and we're going to come on to this when we talk about Dark Elf Raiders and High Elf fleets. And I've mentioned it at the start, right? You lose games of OPR by making more mistakes than your opponent. That's really the way it goes.
Yeah.
So what about if you just are forgiven? What about if your mistakes are forgiven? I've moved too close. I've mispositioned my unit. Oh, you have -3-inch charge range? All is forgiven. I've accidentally popped my thing out of cover and left my big damage, deadly 6, high output walker in the open. You have -1 to hit me. I have evasion on it, just flat. And then I can stack it with stealth, so you have -2 to shoot against me. There is so much forgiveness on so many core units that's so good. And then Grunt Leader just being such a massive... What's the word I'm looking for? Where it amplifies damage? Ratchet? Is that what I'm trying to say? Just AP +2 on the Slayer Aura. The fact that they're shooting auras on their heroes are so good in that form of just being... what's it called? Monster Hunter? Monster Slayer? Range Slayer Aura, that's what it's called. AP +2, turning the spotters into the ability to be 20 shots, qual 2 up because of spotting lasers, and AP3, they are just going to blast people off the board before they get a chance to play. And then because of the -3-inch charge range, which I don't know if it appears anywhere else in Grimdark Future, you are forgiven for your aggression.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just great, really. Obviously, you can get shot off the board if you don't play well, but a lot of their shooting comes in the form of scout, or it's hidden in transports and stuff, so you can play around it. Overall, really great. And obviously, as we learned in our DAO review the other day, the Tide Titan's secret OP as well. So,
Tide Titan.
A lot of stats for less than 500 points.
He's a big boy. All right, let's go. We're going to have a big chat about the Prime Blood Brothers. So let's give ourselves a bit of a break on the Human Defense Force.
Yep.
Now, are they 5%ers or 0%ers?
I think HDF is a 0%er.
See, I was going to say I think it's a bottom of 5%er.
Or a top of 0%er.
Or a top of 0%er.
We have the capabilities of doing that right now, so probably... Yeah, I think HDF is like, I always say it's the army you love to build with, right? Because they've got so many options, right? They've got that +1 morale thing that they can buff to +2 morale. They've got precision shooter buff. There's loads of really nice tools. Really cheap flamethrowers, good transports, everything. I think they're definitely really good. One thing that I think they're lacking is like the unfairness, right? Like all the rules they have in their army are relatively like normal, right?
I think the unfairness is when you take either the Relentless mark to make their shooting better or precision shooting buff that you put on their tough 12 tank hero, and you are leveraging, that's the word I was trying to say, you're leveraging so much more points value output than the points that it's costing you to do that sort of thing. But it's not unfair, because if you want, you can do precision shooter buff plus Relentless mark. But to set this up, you need 2 activations all pointing in the right direction. And then when you're shooting with Human Defense Force, you're moving 6 inches. It's not like Ratmen Clans with their very easy access cheap AP4 that also lets you move 8 inches a turn while you're doing it. They are, I think, that's a very fair assessment that they're not doing unfair things.
No. But I think they do have loads and loads of options and really, really good. I think they can handle basically every matchup. So I am inclined for you to say like they're the best 0%er, and I would also be inclined to go like maybe they're the worst 5%er. Like they're in that region somewhere. But I think
they might not even be the worst 5%er, but they're good. They've also got flying transport 11s.
Yeah, which is kind of huge, right?
It's really good with the ability to stick things like your very cheap flamers in there. The bikes are pretty good. They're cheap, fast. You can give them. They're the only, I think, unit of 5 that you can get lance on, thrust on, in Grimdark Future as well. which is really just quite effective when you're charging 16 inches, hitting on 4s with AP1. You can pick some chaff up there, or you can nip onto points and nick them.
I think
They've got the depth, they've got the range, but just not enough.
Yeah, I think they also probably struggle a little bit with quality. Like they do have precision shooting buff, and that is really, really great. And if you watched our review from pre-3.5, we say basically like the only reason to take the Storm Leader is when you've run out of company leaders, right? Because you need more precision shooter buffs. It's still a really, really, really great rule, and you should still take it. So that does kind of deal with the problem somewhat, but it doesn't blanket deal with the problem across the army, right? And I still think they're kind of somewhat driven towards taking stuff like like Jeeps with flamers in it, right? Like, because it's a reliable way of dealing with stuff, and when you kind of need that reliability in an army. So yeah, I think for now we can leave them at 0%, top end of 0%, and see where we go from there.
Very good, very good. Human Defense Force, another good reliable army. Now the Prime Blood Brothers. Shall we have the conversation first about base? Oh, the game's moved along. Should we have the conversation first about base Blood Brothers? I think that's going to be a better context to have it.
Well, I think we'll just skip all the prime ones until we've found the last one. If you just pick them up and drop them down, they go.
I have. It's gone to the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
The Jackals. Then we'll do that. We'll talk about primes after we've done all of the core Battle ones. Jackals. Where are we putting these guys? I think they're going in the -5%.
Yeah,
I don't think they quite warrant the -10%. I think they are.
No,
I think
they're -5%.
They're -5ers.
They're another one of these armies that just kind of, they're army wise nice, right? A rerolling 6 is nice when it's not tied to a weapon that doesn't have AP, right? When all your good AP gets multiplied by it. They don't have a massive amount of access to massively good AP. Vultures obviously enjoyed it quite a lot, getting the extra rerolls on 6s with AP2. But I think Jackals fall somewhat under the category of like, you could probably do it with HDF. They have the precision mark at the start of the game, which is really nice. That helps deal with a lot of the issues.
Tag.
And tag, yeah. And the hounds are actually really nice because I think they have A2 and then AP2 versus tough 3 or greater, which is good as well. Tough 3 to tough 9.
Tough 3 to tough 9 is what Scratch is.
Yeah.
But they're qual 5 up. They're very cheap. 65 points, you get 5 fast scouting, stridering A2 duders who are 5/5. So they're very, very cheap. And you can upgrade them for 15 points to have Scratch. So 80 points, 160 points for 10 wounds, 20 attacks is pretty nice.
Yeah, just like
you can give them Furious too.
Yeah, like just run at things, hope you get enough hits. If not, critically wound someone, right? Like, it seems kind of good. But yeah, apart from that, what do Jackals really have going with them? They've got a nice transport beast. It's got bounding.
Great beast is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right, what are you putting in it? You're putting elites in it? Shotgun elites?
Yeah. Shotgun elites with heavy flamers. It's kind of what you got really going for you. Yeah, it's just a weird position really for Jackals. They don't really have much like going for them. I think they're playable, right? Like, I think -5% is fine. You can build lists and do fine with them, right? They've got long range shooting. They've got unpredictable shooting aura as well, right? So you can just stack a bunch of low quality shooting together and hit lots of times. Especially with the precision tag as well, you can use those to really boost your damage there. But yeah, overall, base game, I think Jackals do better because they have ambush. They can start using some of their more potent ambush. Like vultures are actually really good, right? They're actually quite a scary ambush unit.
Yeah.
Just A2, AP2 is really nice across a whole unit. But yes, Jackals are just they're okay. They can do with a bit of help. Yeah, they've got a couple of dead units.
I was about to say actually, when we talk about the good Jackals lists, we're talking about the same 3, 4, 5 units over and over again.
Yeah,
we're talking about the Great Beasts, the Vultures, the Elites, and the Hounds. And
yeah, for sure.
I mean, we'll talk about Elven Jesters at some point, but when we talk about a 4 roster army, we're not talking about much. They don't have access to Caster 3. So even though they have got good access to Deadly in their spell list at rank 3, they don't have easy access to it. Max 2 times per game is pretty naff. I'm not interested in their boost and their precision. Their precision mark thing being a tag, so it's consumed, and both stacks of it are consumed in one go, means you need to be alpha striking really, really hard. And I just don't know if they
go. I thought you could just pick. I think you can just say like you pick an X to consume or pick a Y or whatever the wording is on it. But like in general, what we do say about rules like that is like consumable limited rules tend to be quite good.
Right.
Yeah. I think for when you're relying on it for the whole quality of your army, it starts to suffer a little bit. But I think like they actually play the way that Rebel Guerillas I thought would play, right? You now bring like a bunch of crappy long range shooting with tags. You tag a bunch of stuff up, you ambush the things you want to ambush, and then you kind of go from there. I think they did actually lose ambush aura though. They used to have ambush aura, and I think that's now gone. Yeah. They've got scout aura.
Jack of the Jackals, for anyone who watched that bad rep.
He's completely dead. So yeah, I mean, they used to have that. Scout aura is quite nice. You can do some pretty heavy scout strategies now, right? Like you've also got hounds that can scout up. You can scout up with a bunch of elites. That's quite scary. They're a good shotgun unit.
If you win the dice roll, you've just got a ton of shotgun shots hissing on 2-ups.
Stalkers are that kind of unit where like you bring them every time and they basically just die every time. But if they don't die, they're really scary.
Are they scary?
I think they are. You just kit the whole unit out with AP4.
But that's going to cost you
260 points
for a doubled up unit.
For a doubled up unit with Furious, Qual 5, Melee Evasion, Strider, Scrapper, most importantly, right? So any hit they do is basically guaranteed. I think for 230 points, it's worth taking, right? That's barely anything.
And you can stick it in your Great Beast.
Well, yeah, you can do that as well, right? Yeah, that's another candidate for being inside the Great Beast. I think they used to have Scout, and that's been taken away from them. Which is good, right? Because it made being able to do stuff with them a bit more interesting. But yeah. Jackals, either way, they just need something, right? That I don't know, like a little rework, right? Like the Gunner Beast Riders are absolute dog shite. I would really, really like to see some reliable deadly in the list. Not reliable, the keyword, but reliable as in like good quality.
Yeah.
I think right now you basically can't find it, and I think those gunner beasts would be really good for having harpoon guns, which is actually a thing.
The gunners and the beast riders being qual 5 is what is a real pain in the dick. Like I think,
sure.
Obviously, I'm going to say this: I'm the tough 3 shell, but those 2 units, why can't they be qual 3 up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're just supposed to be chaffy, aren't they?
Give them a bit of depth. An interesting thought I wondered is, you mentioned about Rebel Guerillas. What if these guys had hit and run? Would they be a bit more interesting? Well, I think they would be.
The army, you mean, all that specific unit?
The whole army. If the whole army had hit and run instead of reroll 6s, I know you're reducing some of the lethality, but I think that thematically it would make them seem a bit more in key with their lore. I don't know. It was just an idea that I was wondering about. But I think, you're right. They need just one more thing. Jackie. Just one more thing. I don't know where that one more thing falls, but maybe if their auras were just that little bit punchier. Maybe if they had Range Slayer aura instead.
Yeah, I think they were better off as a full ambush list before, and now they've kind of lost that as an ability, and now they go like Transport Scout, whatever, right? And I think it's fine.
Bring back ambush, or was it Close Ambush aura? No, not Close Ambush aura.
No, it was the satellite beacons. Yeah,
beacon. Bring back backpack beacons. That's what it was, and that would make them a little bit better. If that's it, that's an
idea. A way of getting ambush, right?
Yeah, I was going to say ditch Scouts aura, give them ambush aura and ambush beacons.
I'm sure for it's that. I think Scout's fine, right?
Yeah,
I think you can make a cool Scout list for them, but yeah, they just like end up being. They're okay, right? Like the couple of games I play with Jackals, like you said, right? My opponent has made a tactical blunder. And the game has gone from there, right? And then you just, like, if you're 5% down, like we're saying, if your opponent blunders, you're favorable, right? Because it only takes one blunder to shift that 5% and it wipes it out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So they stay in the -5%, Jackals. Now let's go on to the Machine Cult. I think they're another 5%er.
I think they're a 0% for me. I played them in a tournament before 3.5, and since 3.5 they just had -1 to hit as an army wide, which is one of those things that's super easy to underestimate, right? Like very, very potent ability. They're walkers. They're like tough 6 walker stuff.
Yeah, you're a big fan of these guys.
Yeah, they're actually really great. They just do a lot of stuff. They're quality 3 is the thing, right? The combat robots, like they really, really pull their weight in a way that you would like. I don't know, maybe you'd underestimate them because they're called 3 Def 2. They now have a -1 to hit. They have Fearless. They have Fear 1. They've got 4 AP4 attacks. You can give them regeneration as well. So they become a very, very tanky, tough 6 thing. But like
I can
still around like the kind of like less than 300 point mark, right? And having 4 AP4 and Fear 1, and like Fear 1 plus Def 2 and -1 to hit in some situations and regen means that Fear 1 can actually be super, super relevant, right? Like often you can actually win by not striking back sometimes, right? Because they charge you and like they just miss the low attacks and then 2-ups and then regen, right? Which can make them really good. I think the thing that they're missing, right, is they're missing their core unit, right? They have like these cool robots and stuff, and they have like Shock Priests, which can really, really surprise some damage, and they have a really nice Transport 6. I think is it still Transport 6? It might be Transport 11 now, actually.
Landing Craft is Transport 11.
No, I'm talking about the fighter. Yeah, it's now
the Archfighter.
Yeah, the Archfighter. Archfighter is a really, really well. So it used to be. So the Archfighter, first of all, quality 3 once again cannot be understated, right? Quality 3 on aircraft, really, really good. The thing's actually really great, right? Like it's got a 30-inch range A4, no AP gun on it, right? Which is nice for just going like a little bit of tickle there, a little bit of tickle here, right? Clear out units that have been left sitting around. The bomb rack's been changed to strafing, but 2 AP1 blast 3 attacks is also really annoying. And for only 30 points more, you're then also dropping units off. So for only 310 points, you get something that is once again doing bits around the map and dropping things where they need to be. And now that it's 11, you can actually just full on stack a really scary unit of shock priests.
So, yeah, and this is why I'm very happy to be persuaded to put them in the 0 because of the combat robot. But when we were talking, I mentioned this to you. I can't remember if I said it on the video last week when we were talking about kind of the archetypes that things fit into. I ended up making a really hoardy, aggressive machine cult list, which was different to how we were pitching them at the time. But Shock Priests, Sex Stalkers, and I think Sky Stalkers just form this really fun, hoardy, aggressive army base. And then you can stick in some teleport auras, really is what I'm excited about out of the heroes. You can get teleport aura on a cult leader for, I think it's 110 points for this dude to come in, and your dude's zapping around the map.
Sex stalkers are really nice, aren't they? Sex stalkers. Sex stalkers.
Before we get cancelled by YouTube algorithm, the shortened word of sector.
Oh yes, sexy
stalkers, not sex stalkers. They're really good.
Cult Rangers are basically just Robot Legion warriors, right? If you think about them like that, they're basically the exact same, right? They've got A1 shred and they can take 2 attacks with AP4.
Do you know what's great?
What?
Versatile attack upgrade for 25 points on that unit. They can accidentally become an extra point of AP or +1 to hit.
Yeah, and if they were, what would push machine kills up a bit, right, is if that was versatile attack aura, right, and you got it for cheap, right? But when you double that unit, it's going to be 50 points,
yeah,
which is quite a lot. But if it was an aura, it'd be amazing. I'm sure it'd be like 30 points. But yeah, I think machine cults are a really, really solid army. They've got lots going for them. They're missing a couple of things, right? Like if Cult Rangers were A2,
yeah,
I think we'd be talking about a really, really strong army then.
Oh yeah,
that's
really probably
nice
actually it, right? Like if they were A2, we'd be pushing them into maybe the +5 percenters just for having such an amazing base unit.
Yeah, and the other thing is, unfortunately, they only have caster 2 apart from in High Priests.
Yeah,
they had caster 3 at lower levels.
Points.
Yeah, High Priest is just this weird unit. I mean, it's a good unit, right? Like A3, AP4 is good, right?
Qual 3, Def 3 is good. 3.
Yeah, like it's a good unit, right? But it's very, very expensive. But their spell list is actually really, really good.
It's really good. 6
it's really, really
good at the top.
-1 AP from your opponents is actually quite scary given the rest of their list with all the Def 2 stuff. 4 hits with AP1 and Wreck is just good, right? Like it's just rerolling 6s on an AP1 4 blast thing, right? That's decent, nice for killing out some chaff. Machine Fog Boost, obviously pretty decent. 2 hits AP1, another great thing. Hit and run shooter, you probably never use it, but all around a pretty decent spell list. But it's just access to it is the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see machine guns being strong, building nice lists for them. there's nothing in here that makes you go like, ugh. And I think as long as you're playing somewhat clever with stuff like Machine Fog, I think you're going to come out ahead, because I think it's a really great rule, isn't it? Right? That's what it's always been really great.
Yeah, fair enough. I will take the points. So we can have them sit in their zeros. Now,
yeah, just don't actually run attack crafts. I think that's the biggest bait. Like their like attack craft and
the
landing craft and stuff like that. Yeah, like I think the landing craft just isn't really worth running, right? Like I think I've seen a couple people try.
The landing craft is fine.
I just wonder, like, what are you bringing forwards that you wouldn't rather have in an aircraft?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You stick in the Archfighter every day of the week over that, and then you've got the annoying aircraft.
That's why you used to be Transport 6, and it made more sense then. But now it's like, just spend the extra 70 points, have something that can blow up something on the board.
Absolutely valid. Now let's go to our next over 10% of the Custodian brothers. No conversation needed. See you later. Bye. No, these guys are in the 5%ers, I think.
I put them above Ratmen Clans, I think.
Oh yeah, if we're doing it like that.
I'd also probably put Machine Cults with Titan Lords.
Sorry, yes, I'm not paying attention to this ordering that we did promise that we would do. Are they above Ratmen? I think I will agree with you.
Yeah, I think they have the DAO thing where they just win certain matchups.
Yeah, some things just lose. Well, I don't think it's... Obviously, I'm just being a pedant here, but I think it's just some things just can't kill them, and so those things just lose.
Yeah, for sure, right? Like, I think they've got Teleport Aura now, which has dealt with a lot of mobility issues that they had before. Mm-hmm. They still have access to really decent AP. Their AP got nerfed by 1, which is kind of a buff.
I think it's kind of a buff. That point you were saying earlier, being like, AP4 is just a waste sometimes. Like, just AP3 is a sweet spot. We spoke in 3.4 a lot about how AP2 was such a golden sweet spot. So AP3, I think it's in a good place for it.
Yeah, and then on top of that, they have just the best flamer unit in the game, right? Scouting flamers is extremely, extremely scary, and they get access to precision mark on it.
AP1, not precision, piercing mark.
Piercing mark, yeah. So piercing mark obviously is a very, very good rule. But just on that unit, you could just whack 2 of them on if you really wanted to and go like, here's 15 hits AP2 on the unit I didn't like. Instantly kill it, and your guys are still alive after it, and then they have to deal with it because it's still 15 AP zeros onto the next unit.
Yeah.
I think that's
200
really
points. Was it 270 points? Is it 35 points for piercing mark?
I think it is, yeah. 200 points, though, for just 6 counting flamers is really, really good.
Yeah.
And then, what else do they have in the list? I mean, you're a big fan of the Master Custodian, maybe less so now, but he used to be the golden boy. But the Walkers now, right? Shred mark is really good. There's some parts of that list
285 points, I think, for the base walker that can get a shred mark, and the base walker comes out with 8 attacks AP4, 4 attacks AP1, qual 3, fearless, def 2 up. He can't get regen, but he can get a shred mark, and shred mark is very versatile. The fact that you can couple up, if your walker's like in no man's land for some reason, he can still be relevant with the shred mark. Which I think is just fantastic for that. If you do bring the 6 block of teleporting AP3 Custodian brothers, they're good. They got access, we've not spoken about it, but they got access to veteran Custodian brothers in 3.5, which I haven't built a huge amount with, but that's because I mainly play 2K, and I'm sure at 3K those lads are ripping it up. They're doing really well. I think
even at 2K they're really good because they get versatile attack.
It's a choice.
It's great because the spears are now AP3.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, it's a relevant choice. Like, do I actually want the AP4 or do I want the +1 to hit, right? It's like the perfect amount of AP for that buff. And they've got the perfect amount of quality for the +1 quality, right? So, they're kind of like in a sweet spot there. And then on top of that, they're still very durable and such. Custodian Brothers' problem will always be wiping out chaff. So, if you do get, like, out-scouted, and you lose the scout off and they can collapse and kill your flame assistants before they do something, you might struggle to beat hordes. But if you could get past that, which I think is very possible, because really it's quite hard to out-scout flame assistants anyway, because they can be 18...
Scout. It's quite hard to out-scout flame assistants, is what you're saying.
They can be 18 inches away, and your Custodians can cover that with a teleport countercharge, right, if needs be. That's why it's 5%. I think Custodian Brothers is one of those ones where, like, certain matchups, because they're also wins, it kind of pushes them higher up in the 5% category. But I think overall, I think they're a 5%er. Yeah.
I think that the fact they've got access to some reasonable ways of dealing with many things keeps them very happy. And then the fact that they can just accidentally never die. They are, oh my God, redo Fearless. Please let me have my Great Sisters lead things again. Give my, just Great Sisters. Let them have a Fearless optional upgrade so they can lead someone who is a Fearless unit. The rest of it, though, it's like, it's never happening. But the rest of the army being mostly Fearless is just, mostly Fearless, mostly Call 3 up. They are just sticking around for a bit of a long time. And that just means they can take points. So
yeah, Custodian's problem obviously then is the tough 6 hero thing, right? Where they don't have a good buffing hero because the Great Sisters count synergy. Which is not ideal.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, overall good shit from Custodians.
Good shit. We love the Custodians. High Elf fleets, a conversation point between us, right? So you think they're a -5%. I think they're a 0%. I think they're a low 0.
Yeah, so my argument for high elf fleets is elemental strikers are good. I keep calling them elemental strikers. I think they're called elemental strikers. I've not actually gone back and checked at any point. They were at some point called elemental strikers because I remember thinking, isn't that a football thing?
Is it the strikers are shooty and then the
No, they're the protectors. They are called strikers, yeah. So elemental strikers, the melee ones. Elemental protectors are the gun ones.
Okay.
Which I guess in some way feels counterintuitive, but yeah, my argument for high elf fleets is all their core units are either not aggressive enough and fragile, or aggressive but really expensive and fragile, but they're not aggressive enough for the point cost almost, right? So the most aggressive unit is Shifters.
Yeah.
Shifters got 12-inch range guns, so that they should in theory be quite cheap. They're 3/4s. They obviously have like mini fast, they have teleport, they have ambush, right? So all this stuff kind of slowly brings up the points. And we talked about this before, but what you need to be able to do with a unit is 6 wounds, right? And to get 6 wounds out of them, what you really want to be doing is upgrading one of their guns, right? To get them up to 12 attacks.
Yeah.
Because then you hit 8 times, and then normally you'll do 6 wounds against most targets, which sounds good, right? So that would cost you 260 points for that, right? Which is not a bad.
It's not 270 points.
Unless I mathed it wrong just in the 2 seconds I looked at it then. 270 points. So 270 points for that it's not too bad, right? 270 is just starting to creep up that cost. But the problem is 270 is an eighth of your army, and it doesn't one-shot things. It just kind of tickles them. And because you're 12-inch range, you're going to get countercharged, and they're only 5 wounds, and they're going to die. So those 6 wounds better pay off at some point during the game.
Yeah.
So the other solution then is, okay, well, if I'm not killing things, I'd double them up. And then they cost like 500 points,
then it's
right?
so much.
And if you get out ambushed, you lose 500 points. You can put them in the arse end of nowhere, and somebody else will ambush on top of them, right? The only way you can play them then is in your troops. And really they want to be playing line of sight, because if they get shot at, it's a massive loss as well. So shifters are really your best source of AP in the list, but they're also a huge liability. If high elf fleets were just elementals, I would agree they would be 0%. But I think it's really hard to build an all elementals list that is also flexible. I know they have 2-inch movement extra, but they don't have much in the way of tricks, right? Like unwieldy debuff is an okay debuff. It's not winning the games. But in general, it's a very predictable playstyle playing lots of elementals. So you almost need the tricksiness of the rest of the army, the really specialized units to do stuff. But everything ends up being so expensive. Everything is so expensive for what it is, and still fragile. And I think it doesn't do enough fragility to high damage output, like we'll come to in a second, Dark Elf Raiders, right? Who have a lot of like 3 or 4 attacks per wound stuff. High Elf fleets are capped at 2 on all their stuff. I think for me, it puts them in -5%. I think they're also quite hard to play, and they don't have the same like difficulty payoff as like DAO Union, where like you can just like table someone right into like at the start of round 3 basically with DAO Union. I think it's much harder to do that with high elf fleets, and because of that, I'd rather see it -5.
So I'm not arguing them to be much higher than the bottom of the 0%. We are, and this is the point, folks. Like when we're having these debates, we are talking difference of percentage points between us. We both agree this is roughly where they should be. I think shifters Yeah, they're so frigging expensive. It's really difficult to justify doubling up on them without being a full ambush strat, to the point when they are terrifying. But I think that because they've got this 2-inch range, their shooting versatility is so good. Revenants are very good as well. Their APCs are actually very nice at only 165 points. It is a super zoomy 18-inch moving transport 11, which you can get stealth on for 15 points.
For sure.
So sticking revenants in those transports is good. You do then get the tension of the anti-synergy of, I want to charge you using my extra 2 inches. I'm locked on the 6 inches, but they move on throughout the game. Revenants as well. We've spoken about burying high AP in units. You can bury Fear 2 in the unit, which is going to be very nice. So the Revenants, a few units just do bring it forward. If you're playing with the Stingers, if you're playing an event pack, that could be pretty good. The Elementals, I actually think we're so close on so many axes. The Elementals do a lot of lifting, I think is really the big thing here, because they are a solid unit, defense 3 up, qual 3 up with Fearless. And without them, the whole list is just pure fragility. But the big drawback is that if you hit an elf, he's going to crumple.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, if they got more payoff from the fragility, I would be more keen on them. But I just think, like, in a world where Dark Elf Raiders probably goes in 0%, I just can't justify high elf fleets being in the same rank as them, really. Okay. And that's not because I've got like an elf thing going on. It's just because I think their best lists do the same thing, and I'd rather have Gene Brutes over Elementals, and I'd rather have Jet Bikes over APCs, and I'd rather have literally anything other than 90% of the infantry in high elves. So for me, it's like I don't know how I could feasibly place them in 0%, and especially when you put them next to other things in 0% already, right? Like, are we really saying that HTF is close to them in sort of power level, right? Like Titan Lords, Machine Cults, I think like they all have much, much more rounded, interesting options, and they have a way of doing most things. I think that, agree with that, right? Top end of 5%, because I think Elementals are really good. And I think extra movement is good, right? But I just think like their core units are just missing, basically, right? They're AWOL, they're just too expensive.
Protectors, Retributors.
Yeah, if you're running the core units, Retributors are the ones you're running because they do get access to a doubled up gun.
The carbine A2 crack.
The twin shot carbine is an A4 one, so they can do their A2 ones and their A4 ones, which is good. But once again, it's crack, right? So it's like it's not crack real AP.
Sucks.
It's like shit. It's like shit rending, right? It doesn't get rid of regen, half as much AP. I don't know. Like,
it's unreliable AP, and reliable AP is so important in Grimdark Future.
It's nice having like some AP every so often, right? But really, like, I'd rather have rending, right, basically every day of the week, which is what they used to have, and even then it wasn't very good. Give me AP1 rending. I think we know that will never happen, right? The next update for OPR is a weapons one, and the intention behind it is to lower some of the deadliness of the game. So a lot of stuff's being stripped back. So I mean, maybe in the new world when we see 3.7 come out, we'll see that
3.7 a year and a half from now.
Sorry, 3.6, right? Okay. I always forget which one we're on. Maybe then A2 crack, if it's still around, will be a decent thing. But in this world of the game, I think it's just not enough.
Just not enough. All right, we'll leave them at the top of 5.
Expensive, and
the heroes are expensive. The heroes don't have a fearless upgrade. The fearless change is my biggest lament, I think, about 3.5.
Also, the Sibling got 100 points more expensive. It's still really good, right? It's still
it was too good in 3.4.
Sure, it's great. It's 4 attacks, AP3, blast 3, anywhere on the board is really, really good. And with Castrian thrown in as well, great unit. But once again, like, do you really want to spend that much on a plane when your core infantry is dying? Maybe not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, we'll leave them at the top of the 5% bracket, and we'll move on to our lizardy boys. And as I say this, Harvey reminds me of a D&D character he had 7 years ago called Rakesh, which was a Saurian or a lizard folk. And I'm not going to make Harvey do it, but he had a very good impression of what I imagine Saurians talk like. I'm not going to make him do it, but I will put the Saurian Starhost in our 0%ers. Ooh,
you're a 0%. I'm disagreeing with that.
Are they 5%ers?
Two things that make Saurian Starhost really strong, right, is precision tag, right, which makes up so. Ankylosaurus has got to be one of the best tough 12 killers in the game if it hits. I actually watched the True Sight Gaming guys do their review of Lizardman the other day. When they got to the Ankylosaurus, they basically spent like 5 minutes talking about how much it sucks to miss every attack for the whole game, which is what 4-up's like, right? Like we hate 4-ups here as well, right? They're bob on. But the precision tag, which they also mentioned, is how you deal with that, right? That little gecko on his Ripidactyl who can buff things, buff their tough 12s, and you can blow it with Ankylosaurus. It's great. And then I think on top of that, what Saurian Starhosts have is Protection Feat, which is just one of the best rules in the game. It's incredibly good, right? It's taking half wounds from the first strike, which can literally win you the game just by snowballing. I think that's such an amazing rule. I think you take it on literally everything you can. That I think just by having that rule, in the kind of the same way I believe it about Hazardous, just by having that rule in the army, I think it would be impossible for it to be 0%.
Fair enough. Yeah. I was going to see about putting them ahead of Human Defense Force, but I'm definitely there for it, especially when we've been theory crafting recently and we came across that precision tag Ankylo combo. Like that did really put them. I've printed off a whole frickin' Saurian army. I don't know where I've put them. I've started to paint them with gators on the bloody desk. Yeah, fair enough. They are in the 5%er, and then just a vet on a Tyrannosaur's good, handing out Predator. Expanded Predator boost buff, that's what it's called now. They're good.
Chameleons are a great scout unit.
Chameleons are great.
12 they've got the shotgun scout, good shot thing going on, right? That's
geckos
nice.
Are great.
Evasive, AP1, AP4 on the geckos is nice. Teleport is fun. They've just got lots and lots of tools, don't they? Really?
Yeah, they've got toys.
Decent all round stuff. I think they probably are where you put them there below Ratmen Clans. I think they're basically the same. In fact, I'd maybe say all these three armies here are extremely, extremely close to each other in terms of power level.
Yeah, I agree.
You can swap them in any order.
I think I'd still leave Custodians ahead of these two.
Yeah. The one thing I really think Protection Feat is really good because, yes, 4-ups suck, right? I've just said that 4-ups do suck, right? But in the context of like a regen, like sometimes, for many times, like, if they hit you and it does nothing, right? Yes, you've wasted some points, the unit's died. But because the unit was being charged, it was already in a bad position. The potential just to roll like 4 out of 6 wounds saved with Protection Feat alone, which is not that uncommon on a 4-up, is really good, right? Like you can just win combats off that, right?
I'm actually thinking, I haven't played 40k in years now, but I seem to recall there was like a once per game effect in 40k where you half all damage coming in. 40k ongoing players, get down in the comment section and remind me what it is now. But I seem to recall there was something like that of a once per game you just reduce, or maybe you reduce all incoming damage to 1 because they have multiple damage per hit profiles in 40k. Yeah. But yeah, the ability to just wipe a thing down to half its damage input on average is pretty good. Also, yeah, I had overlooked Protection Feat. The fact that the early hits in OPR are the ones where you take the most.
Yeah.
Just by nature of the game. So having this as a choose when is really powerful. If it was just the first hit of the game, you could play around it and make it shit.
Yeah.
But it's you choose, and in OPR you want to front load your damage. That's just how you'll have the most success. And so, yeah, fair enough. I'm happy with them to be in this pack of very good 5%ers.
Yep.
Lust Brothers, our first Havoc Brothers run. Now, they're very good. Are they top of 0 or bottom of 5-ish? Do you want to just take a minute to talk about dangerous terrain debuff?
Yeah, so the thing about factions like this, right? Like Brothers style factions where they have multiple styles to them, is it's really hard to, like, if one of them is better than the rest of them, it kind of pushes the other ones down. Maybe somewhat unfairly, right?
Yeah.
So I think the Brothers list is really good. The Havoc Brothers list. I think Lust Brothers is probably not the best one. I think the extra is it 1 inch, 3 inch? I think it is.
Yeah.
Isn't really enough. I think it is 1 inch.
I think it is.
1 inch like walking and 3 inch charge.
Charging and rushing. Advance and charge.
Is it? It's just advance and charge. It's not rush and charge.
No, it's 1 inch. 1 inch using advance and 3 inch rush and charge. I got the terminology wrong in my head. 1 inch for a half move, and plus 3 inches for your double moves.
Yeah, that's a strong rule. It's decent, but I don't think it's as strong as the other ones. I think dangerous terrain debuff is 18 inch. It sees through walls. It's got a really nice flat damage profile against high tough things. It ignores defense. It allows you to target multiple things per round, it's basically a spellcaster on a stick. It's relatively cheap. 6 of them on average will kill any tough 12, or any tough 6+. Which seems like a lot, but it's not. You're doing it in multiple small amounts as well, so like your opponent will hit morale multiple times. Very, very strong. You can basically build the whole list of just that, depending on what your local meta looks.
As we have seen done,
depending on what your local meta looks like, that could be super, super potent. They also have some really, really good, like all the mutated cultist stuff which is where you get all these debuffs of good melee units anyway. Really so that also plays into the lust thing even more. But I don't think you need lust compared to, I think like a 6-up defense. Interestingly enough, is kind of almost better because.
Oh, you mean plague here? You're talking about plague.
Yeah. So plague is I think is slightly better than lust. I think war being army wide shred is really, really good if you're leaning in less into the dangerous terrain stuff, which I think therefore actually knocks them down a peg because you're less interested in that kind of stuff. For war, that is.
For war, yeah.
Change, another defensive debuff, I think is good because dangerous terrain can do so much lifting. So I think for the brothers, they're all really good. But I think for me, I would put change near the top, and I would put plague after them, and then I'd probably go lust, war, base. I think that's my ordering for them.
I think I agree on change and plague.
And then, so yeah, I mean, whatever the bottom 3 are. I then also think that I think base Havoc brothers aren't good because I think War brothers are a direct upgrade because base Havoc brothers have like conditions on their AP, whereas War brothers just get it.
Yeah.
Which is way better for War brothers, right?
You're saying the thing that's I think it's banned, isn't it? Saying that shred is AP1. Shred is AP1. Shred is 1/6 of your hits do more damage, but shred also amplifies deadly, and shred always applies if your opponent is def 6 up. Shred is
or fortified or whatever.
Or fortified and all this shit.
Yeah, it's less reliable, whatever. So I think all the brothers end up kind of in the middleish, but I think Havoc brothers are 0%.
I actually want to put Havoc brothers at the top of a 5%er.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was saying, right? Like I think Havoc brothers is a 0%er list, but the fact that war exists, it makes you go like, well, actually, should I knock Havoc brothers down? Because they're not the best version of the army.
So we're talking about all of them. So I think let's keep it that. I think let's keep them all in because we're having this rather than going back and filtering through. I think Plague Brothers is. I agree they're the second best. I agree Change is the best. Change also has access to shit like Spell Accumulator in there, right? I'm fairly sure it does. Oh no, I'm getting confused with the demon.
They've got the Birdmen, right? Is that that's in are the Birdmen in the thing? I always get confused between all the different disciples and nonsense.
I'm pretty sure that
they do get Birdmen. Yeah, 140 points for 10 models, A2 change bound.
Yeah, as well. Their change Birdmen are insanely good.
Yeah, very, very cheap for 10
very, very cheap for 10 models with -1 to hit.
Really,
no,
really
they don't
stuff.
get Spell Accumulator. You are right. I'm wrong about that one. But Havoc in general have got a really good spell list, I think. Yeah. Lust as well have got AP1 Shred. Change have got AP2. Plague. Okay. We're rambling a little bit on this. I think Change are the best. Best spell list. -1 to hit. Dangerous terrain debuff. They've all got access to the brutes, the tough 12 dudes. And a really good list in general, having very easy access to 3/3s, and then the mutated dudes are fantastic, right? Havoc Brothers in general, across all of the sub-factions are solid. And good chaff in the cultists as well. They do so many different things so well. They're not really the top of the 5%ers. I think they are at the bottom, but they're in a really solid place. So we'll keep change there. Yeah. Plague Brothers have the worst spellcasting list, but they've got that extra 6 up. And when you're taking things like the mutated dudes, where they've got lower defense, that's really strong. And in their spell list, they've got difficult terrain debuff. Now, I think everyone is sleeping on how fucking good this is. Just the ability to pick something that doesn't have Strider or Flying and go, you're moving 6 inches slower, mate, is absolutely fucking cracking. And I think that justifies their crappy spell list.
Yeah, which is probably going to annoy Devnol on Discord. He's done about 400 posts about how bad the spell list is. And I do agree, the rest of the spell list is awful, right? Like, Jesus Christ. They've got the worst level 3 damage spell. That's just terrible, isn't it, right? They've got Rapid Rush as a spell. Like, it's a fucking joke. But yeah, I think Difficult Terrain is really, really good in it. And yeah, 6 up defense and spamming Difficult Terrain debuff is good. Dangerous Terrain debuff is good.
I don't know if I'm happy with Plague being at the 5%. I think I want them at the top of 0%.
I think I'm happy with them at the bottom of 5% or the top of 0%. I think there's somewhere in that region. And I will say, like, you know, my heart goes to the War Brothers. I think War Brothers, I love Shred, and I love the Reaper Cannons that you can do like 3 wounds on a 1 and stuff like that. Yeah. That's really fun. But yeah, I think that looks about right, doesn't it? HDF has made its way to the bottom there.
It has.
Or HDF. I think
Dave needs to use this website.
Yeah. I don't know if Lust Brothers are better than HDF. I think HDF are better than Lust Brothers.
I think HDF are better than the Lust Brothers. I think HDF are better than War Brothers.
I think Titan Lords are better than... are worse than... I think, Titan Lords can live with those boys at the bottom, I think. They're also kind of a Havoc faction in an interesting way.
Yeah. Well, Titan Lords having the ability to pick which Havoc faction they're in, I think, puts them above these guys. Even though you're nearly always choosing Warbound.
Yeah.
I think
or going full degen regen.
The 5 up 6 ups. Yeah, I think with the way that's ended. And yeah, base Havoc Brothers, conditional AP1. They have a bit of a wider roster, but it's not enough to really pip it.
Yeah, the stuff that they get for their wider roster, I think, is in the fantasy world a lot better than in the GDF world.
Yeah, I agree.
Like having like Demon Prince and stuff is interesting for embedding in the claw guys. The claw ambush guys, and in base game that's also very good. But yeah, I think they kind of get pipped out a little bit by the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, I'm even minded to put them below high elf fleets.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I will not stand for it. Fuck high elf fleets.
Oh my god, Harvey, the polarized elf. Fucking. What is it with me and making friends with elf fanatics, especially dark elf fanatics?
I'm not actually a dark elf fanatic.
Harvey's a Ponzi elf lover. You heard it here first.
Well, how dare you? Anyway, let's do Elven Jesters next. I love Elven Jesters.
Are they at the top? All right, cool. Another 10%. Another favourite army of mine. Next. These guys are in the 0%ers.
Yeah, so I mean, I would controversially push them higher up the ranks because I think they recently got Slayer Mark, right, which is very scary.
Picking great things about them. The 3-inch. We'll come on to this when we talk about Wolf Brothers. In fact, Harvey and I haven't pre-discussed that, but I think I'm going to be pushing Wolf Brothers way higher up because of their 3-inch blink, mini teleport. Elven Jesters, mini teleport, -1 to hit, army-wide furious or something of the sort.
Yeah,
their bolus guys have got. Proximity
surge,
that's the one I'm looking for, and they're no longer limited. They've got Slayer Mark. Their bikes are actually I shit on bikes in OPR. I think that unfortunately they're crap, but I think their bikes are kind of fine. Their tough 6 bikes kind of good.
So the heavy jetpack's good. Yeah, it's 2 up defense with evasive, right? Like how could that be bad?
And it's fast and blink, so that motherfucker can move like 19 inches in a round. And I think
Strider,
it's transport 6.
It is transport 6. Yeah. So that loaded with Jesters is kind of hilarious. You like wing it up the board, Slayer Mark, something pop out. You do 15 AP2 hits on
all right, fine. I'll bring Jesters to the next event.
Honestly,
we're here
again. I
want
to play Jesters for absolutely ages. I'm playing Dark Elf Raiders to my next event, and then after that, maybe I'll bring Elven Jesters.
Do it, because you know
the one thing I will say is base game they do a lot better.
They do so much better, yeah.
Yeah, because ambush redeployment on their ambush unit that can charge in just to completely detonate the thing in front of it, especially with Slayer Mark in the game now, right? You're getting like a lot of attacks. You're coming in with like, what is it? I think they hit on 3s with Furious.
Wait,
and they've
pranksters?
Got Lance. Yeah, pranksters. Yeah, and they got Lance. So they hit on basically 1-ups with AP2. That combined with Slayer Mark means you've got 20 AP4 hits coming in, right? Yeah. Which is just too much for most things to do it. And then because they one-shot something, they ambush redeploy. And then they come in and try and do it again. It's really, really good.
So we're talking about events that are coming up. I'm waiting for an all base game event to play either the Change Ambush Castellus that we discussed, or Elven Jesters, or Vassal Brothers in some variety, or Havoc Brothers as well. I have a lot of things that I'm like, I'd love to play more base game events, mostly because I'm getting really fucking fed up of progressive, but also because there are so many juicy armies that are just shut out by progressive gameplay that I'd love to bring.
Yeah, sure. I think it's such a shame. But yeah, EJ, I think another one as well that's quite hard to play. Evasive is definitely a huge leg up for making them more durable than they appear.
We talked about forgiveness with DAO. Army-wide evasive is forgiveness for Elven Jesters.
Yeah, and very easy for your opponent to underestimate. I would put EJ... Yeah, I think I'll put them next to Titan Lords. I think that's fair.
Right. I think I'm looking at them alongside Machine Cults, and I'm thinking that these guys are roughly equal.
Yeah, different play styles massively, right? But it's very hard to evaluate Elven Jesters because they're so expensive. Like they end up being quite elite because they're quite aggressive, and you requires a real understanding of the way the board's going to flow to really win with them and not overcommit stuff.
Then they're not pick up and play.
They're not pick up and play, no. But I think they are good, and I think they are relatively fair. I mean, for me, I could see with like a skilled hand move them up to 5%. But it would have to be base game, and like if it's not base game, I think they take a huge hit, right? Because really that prankster burst is just huge.
It's monstrous,
yeah. And evasive armor wide is really good, and the jet bite, despite having a tiny little list, they've got actually their units are quite high quality.
I don't want to move them to the 5% because, and this is something we're going to discuss when we come on to Dark Elf Raiders, and especially stay tuned for what is probably next week's video about discussing beginner, intermediate, and advanced armies and strategies. But it's that aspect of you make a mistake with Elven Jesters and you are feeling the pain. You really can feel the sting. So I don't want to push them. I don't want to push them above Human Defense Force and Plague Brothers. And so because of that, they have to kind of be here.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I prefer their playstyle to the ones that are above on the list, so I want to push them higher. But I think for your everyman, I think that's a good fair place for them. And also, interestingly, like I think if you went and looked at tier lists from 3.4, you would have seen Titan Lords and Elven Jesters at the bottom of most people's tier lists, right? They were kind of binned off to the bottom. So it's really nice, at least for ours, to see them a bit higher up, right? Like we did a bad back rep with Elven Jesters. And I think ambush redeployment and Slayer Mark has brought them up so much, and they can still do with some more units, like give them some more stuff. But honestly, where they're at is pretty good. Slayer Mark is just so good. Right? Yeah. It's such a powerful mark. It really makes the army, and the fact that you can put it on the heavy bikes, which are now like, I don't think they had transport before, but they're great now. So
yeah, I'd be really interested to see what other channels say about this tier list when we get to the back end of it.
Go on, say his name.
Fitz is a very different approach to the game to us, so he might be like, get Jesters out of here, ping whatever army up to the top. Wherever we put orcs, I guarantee we are going to put orcs too low for Fitz's enjoyment. But the True Seeing guys, right? And if you haven't gone and checked out True Seeing Gaming, go look them up. They're doing some really great work. I'd be really keen to see, because I think we have a different approach on meta to them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And
we definitely do, right? So sometimes I watch some of their reviews and they get like to a unit, and I'm tempted to skip it because I feel like it's trash. I don't want to.
It's really hard, right?
And then they'll come, like the other day, I was, like I said, the Saurian Starhosts one they were doing. I was listening to, I don't know which one's which. I'm really sorry, guys. But one of them was saying how he loves bringing big stacks of gators with the 12-inch shooters in them. Right, he makes like 12-inch AP1 with the 18-inch jetpack, 18-inch launcher things on the back, the limited ones. Puts a big guy in it, huge block of really, really hard to move AP1 shooting with protection feet.
Yeah,
and I don't think I would ever consider putting 12-inch range shooting on gators.
Absolutely
right?
not.
And I think it's a really, really interesting strategy they've come up with because, you know, obviously doing short range shooting and then still like things charging you and having protection feet and being able to fight back at full strength. Sure, only CCWs 2, whatever it is, but it's just not something we would ever have put in a list, right? Ever. And yet there's guys being like, oh my God, like I wouldn't leave home without these things. So
yeah, it's
very interesting.
It is interesting. And I think that OPR World Championships when is all I'm saying. Yeah, no, I agree. Very different takes taken around the world. And so I'll be keen to see that they might come in and be like, what the fuck are these don't think just charge guys doing? They're full of shit. What, the Elven Jesters middle of the pack? No, get out of here. To which point I say, you know, guns at noon, mate. I'll bring my Jesters and I'll enjoy
bring it on. We'll fight you in Worcester. Yeah, I think it would be cool to, I mean, what we need is more OPR YouTubers, right?
Yeah.
Because like right now, obviously, are there any other OPR YouTubers from England? I don't know if there is. So we'd represent that, England. They've got the Chainsaw guys in France. Fitz can have the whole of America. There's actually 2 Australian ones, right? I think Count Vamps, is he Australian?
Vamps, yeah.
Is he Australian?
And also there's hobby homies, but those guys are absolute homies. I think they'd come along. They can do the, what's it called? The commentary.
Either way, there have to be some sort of fight between the Australians to decide who represents the country. But yeah, we just need more. We just need more.
Germans have got a really big population of OPR community, is what I'm trying to say.
But no YouTubers. I've not seen anything on. Yeah. So yeah, either way, when we have our big world scrap, let's get all the YouTubers together, man.
Let's do it. And that would just be a fucking fun event.
Yeah.
Perrin, if you're watching this, call me.
Fly us somewhere warm, please.
Yeah, Jesus, get us out of England.
That's what it's about, yeah. Fly us to Adepticon.
I'm not getting political about America right now.
No, it'd be nice to meet your favorite person.
Well, Boss Fitz, call me. Let's move on to the Human Inquisition. We're going down. Are we going Fallout Boy down to the 10%er here?
Okay, so what do we think about Human Inquisition? Their army-wide is an extremely powerful rule, right?
Probably
really,
the most powerful in the game.
Yeah, that is a great fucking rule, but not for the units Human Inquisition have, right? That's the big problem, right? Human Inquisition have like the most normal, like whatever units, right? And that's not the units you want with this rule. You want high damage output units because kill, move, kill is really, really good in a single round. Most of the time when Human Inquisition use it, they like go like, haha, my trap, I blast you with my shotguns and I do 6 wounds. And then I'm going to reactivate and I do the remaining 4. Right? And it's like, no, right? We want to do more than that.
My transport moves 32 inches in a turn and deploys its card.
It's shotgunners who do 6 wounds.
Here's the thing, right? If you take Human Inquisition and you pump 2 or 3 units quality by +1, have you just broken it? I don't think so. But
no, I don't think so.
Because of the power of the army-wide rule, it could be close to broken.
There are some units that if they were good, right? So like the assassin bodyguards, who are like they've got upgrades to fit with every assassin in the game, and like if they were not quality 4, if they were like quality 3 and they had access to I think that's true. I'm pretty sure they're quality 4. And if they had access to decent weapons, right? Like I'm going to pull them up now on my phone.
So
assassin henchmen, right? So sorry, they are 3. Okay, they're 3/4s. The weapons they have available to them are A4 Surge, A4 Shred, A4 Bane, A4 AP1 Rending, right? Now that might sound like, oh, okay, well, you got AP1 running there, pretty decent, right? But the thing to remember about these guys is they're Def fucking 4, right?
Yeah. They have got evasive.
They need way more damage than AP1 rending to charge something and kill it, right? That's what they need. And if you put them with an assassin, they actually nerf the defense of the assassin by so much. You're going to eat shit. So units like this are quite difficult to really like justify bringing in. It's just like, it's not quite got the things in the right place. And then the rest of the army kind of sucks dick. So I think the double transport thing, like you mentioned, is probably one of the more potent things, right? Like double
transport, drop board, assassin henchmen is kind of fun. But yeah, they don't have the AP.
But it's not enough. Yeah, like, yeah, if you come across custodians, you're like, haha, like, yeah, and they don't. Oh, my guys are dead.
Yeah.
Like, they just die. So
if the assassins were back to tough 6,
and they die to the custodians, what do you do?
Yeah. If the assassins were back to tough 6 with damage output to match, then we might be in a better place.
I think the assassins need to be tough 3 with tough 6 Val. I think that's the only way
unique,
like make it,
like aircraft Val.
Yeah, because I think that's how you make that special really shine. That's how you make them really interesting units, really high risk, high reward units. Like we played a game the other day against, which I hope that listening Mika's probably is. Game. Basically, I put together a bunch of 1,000 point lists, and you like pick 2 bags out of a bigger bag in TTS, and you play with like 2 1,000 point lists. And one of them was for Human Inquisition. I was like, fuck it, 4 assassins. And Dave played a game. Dave played with the 4 assassins, and I played with this ridiculous Prime Brothers, like APC plus like just the AP4 Prime Brothers guys. That was all I had in my list. And the assassins are one of those things where you're so easy to underestimate, right? Because Def 2 evasive is so strong, right?
Yeah.
Very, very easy to underestimate what they can do, especially one with regen. So you can win against people based entirely on a little bit of luck, right? Like evasive, they miss most of their attacks. I roll a couple of 2-ups. I now win that combat. I win this combat. I get to double activate. I do this, do that. And so they're quite good for their point cost, but they're just so risky, right?
I got charged by an ambushing unit of raptors, Havoc raptors, whilst I was fatigued, and won combat.
Oh yeah, just like, and it's like so like, it's so RNG.
Yeah,
right? Because they only have 3 wounds to play with, right?
If it goes wrong, they're gone.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and they got morale from 2 wounds, which they have 2 up morale is fine, but yeah, it's just like I don't know, like it's so high risk, high reward, and they don't really fit cohesively into a 2,000 point list in the same way. Like you can bring one of them and they kind of do their own tricks and stuff. But like, yeah, this is kind of getting beside the point. The rest of the list sucks, and I think they didn't quite use the army wide well enough. And the army wide is so strong, it's also so expensive, and because the units don't utilize it to full effect, you end up with a whole list that's kind of just falls behind a little bit.
Yeah.
When you need to be utilizing the army wide earlier on. So yeah, I think that's probably that.
So the next we've got on our list here is the Battle Brothers. Shall we do all of the brothers together?
Yeah. So so the way I see the brothers is Battle Brothers, I think, are actually the worst.
I agree.
The army wide they get is Steadfast. We've already spoken about Steadfast. Not a fan of it. I'd happily put them in -5 off the back of that. I think that it ends up being the case that Blood and Dark are just better versions of them. They get access to more units with more interesting upgrades. Wolf as well, right? I think Wolf, Dark, and Blood are all just better than Battle Brothers straight up.
Yeah.
I think that Watch and Knight have really, really limited lists, and they struggle as a result.
I was about to be like, I've got all the brothers there, I don't have to worry. I just completely forgot about Knight. That's really bad.
So Knight, obviously, like if you've been a fan of the channel, you know that I'm a big fan of Knight Brothers. I really love the full flamer thing. I brought it to an event, and everyone hates me now. I think that they are way better than Battle Brothers, right? I think if I was putting Knight somewhere, the problem they've got is like they need to bring a Walker really for their AP. All the flamer things are fun, but it's very fragile. But once again, it kind of fits to my play style of like super fragile but blows things up. Right, roll some dice, watch your opponent take them all on board. Love it. Then Blood, Dark, and Wolf, I feel like are basically wherever they go. I think they go as a 3 because they all have very similar things, right? Like Blood increases your damage output slightly, Dark increases your range, and Wolf increases your range kind of as well. So I feel like Wolf was slightly better than Dark Brothers because they kind of have the same rule in a way.
Kinda. Wolf leverage charges better because they have the 3-inch teleport that they can then just make 3-inch moves with later. So melee units just doing 15 inches is fucking great. But Dark leverage fusion and flamers and short range guns better.
Because they pip the 12-inch thing.
Because they pip the 12 and keep going, and they've got Versa Reach Aura as well. So they can actually be surprisingly long-ranged for their shit.
Got that as well, though, right?
Wolf do have it as well.
Yeah.
But it's combining it with their army-wide rule. You've got that double down on rules thing. But Wolf-based brothers have got 2 specialist units that take them over the edge for me, which is the Werewolf Brothers and the Wolf Rider Brothers. Is that what they're called? The tough 3/3s that can have 4 attacks AP1, and you can pump them up to AP2, or you can get shielded in there. There's like a good little range of loadouts that you can get. So for me, Wolf Brothers are just above Dark Brothers for that reason. Plus, then, if you did want to do shooty Wolf Brothers for whatever reason, I think movement, I know you're in a higher risk, but the ability to move 9 inches and shoot and ignore terrain is very, very good. Bearing in mind OPR is a mobility game.
Yep.
Then you look at Blood Brothers, who don't have the movement and range, but they have just outright aggression. They've got, although I rarely build with them, the Regeneration A2, AP1 brothers that I've forgotten the name of. But they've got a walker that can get a caster 3 or regen. And I think
regen is huge there, right?
Regen is monstrous. And I think that those reasons just kind of push it. I think they all share the same spell list. They've all got access to caster 3 on a good spell list.
I think there's some slight changes, but I think Blood's got a different spell list. But...
Has Blood got a different one? Does Blood have access to the evasion spell?
Or is basically like I think there's like 3 different brothers lists, and they I think they have like a handful of spells different. So Blood gets 6 hits AP1 and Shred, and they get evasive.
Fantastic.
I think most of them get evasive, but they get like, I think there's like different buffs at level 2 for different ones, and AP1 Shred is also very good.
And Blood get Furious in there as well. Yeah, they've just got a phenomenal spell list, I think. 6 hits AP1 and Shred is just cracking. So I think Blood are the best, Wolf are close, and Dark slightly after is the way that I order those 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think Blood, I would see it next to Elven Jesters.
Yes.
Maybe, somewhere around there, somewhere in that kind of region. Obviously very different play styles to Elven Jesters and Titan Lords, but kind of right vibe. So they disappeared too. Oh, there they are. That's websites. There we go.
When you come back to do editing, you'll see my little brain just fall out of my ears when Blood Brothers disappeared to the line below. I'm probably like, what is going on here?
The depths with you.
I think Wolf are above Titan Lords as well.
Yeah. I think Dark is fine there. I think it's amongst the War Lust Brothers area. That's okay with me. Watch Brothers now. Okay, Watch Brothers are a bit like Dark Owls, right? They have lots of units of 3 that can smash their Balval, right? Like their base Watch Brother is a 3/2 because you always hit a shielded upgrade with A4 AP1 rending, right? And it's really expensive, but it's good. And then their Watch Vanguard Brothers are 3/2s with AP2 A1 blast A1 AP2 blast 3. Now, obviously, the watch thing is also they get +1 to hit or +1 AP, right? So actually, you very quickly get a very, very aggressive army because +1 AP all over the shop is actually really good, and +1 to hit is also really good depending on the context, right? So I think watch are one of those things where if you try and play them like Space Marines, right, and you try and go like, I have my men and they run up the board and they have special weapons, it's not going to work out. Yeah, if you try and play them like Dark Elves, lots of transport. Maybe you could either drop pod strategy, but ambushing drop pods, or you just go like attack APCs because who doesn't love a flamer, especially an AP2 flamer. Bear in mind. Then I think you actually get a lot stronger of a list out of them, and you go like much more elite, and I think it kind of works out. So I think they're slightly slept on in terms of potency because I just think that the watch army wide is actually just really good. But once again, it's a high risk, high reward thing. It kind of ends up in the Elven Jesters area. So I think they do a slightly worse job as the other brothers. But I think most people would basically end up placing Watch Brothers in -5. Whereas my argument is I think they're actually a 0, because I think as long as you build for like an aggressive playstyle, they can really pay off, because shooting a lot of AP2 rending shots at things is going to do some damage.
Yeah, I don't hate them being in the 0s for exactly that reason you said about watch attack APCs loading up the vanguards. You'll just detonate some people. But I
just
don't
an all
think...
brothers, right? They just come out, move 6 inches, shoot 12 inches, right? Like, it gets very, very expensive very fast. But if you play it correctly, I think you're okay. But you're just going to end up with a list with like 26
20
wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But getting shield on basically all your units is super nice, right? Def 2 on everything is great. And you can even go like full AP4 hammers on the Vanguard, which is quite nice.
But have got ambush, actually. Vanguard have got ambush, of course.
Yeah, so base game, once again, very good, right? Because what you can do with a list like that, where it's relatively aggressively statted but has ambush, is you can do like round 3 ambushes, right? Where you go like, well, I've got good defense, but really like I've got such a low wound count, my staying power's not there. But if I come down round 3, do all my aggressive charges, they only have 1 round ready to attack back.
Yeah.
And your defense might be enough to hold for just 1 round of attacking back, such that you have like 1 or 2 models, which is enough to contest objectives because you've got quad 3 fearless and stuff like that. So a very different playstyle to what you'd normally play with a kind of like, Battle Brother style list. But I think there is potential in there. But yeah, it's certainly much, much harder to make work than the other ones, which are a lot easier to just take a really rounded list and, good quality stuff and just make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think sleep on them. Yeah, and then so Night Brothers, I think unfortunately their list doesn't quite have the tools it needs to make everything work in the same way.
They're just a bit too limited.
Very similar to Watch Brothers, really, in the way you end up kind of wanting to play them. You take a bunch of veterans. I think you still just go flamethrowers. The one thing that they're really missing from Night is a decent high AP gun on their normal guys. I think if they had access to high AP in some form on some of their units, then they'd be in a better place. But as it stands, the best place to get it is the walkers, which is a really annoying way of getting it when the Night list has no way of increasing mobility. Because walkers are really great, but they also if you spend the first 2 turns walking forwards, then they don't do great.
They're also like 400 odd points because of the 6 up, the way it's calculated against their toughness.
Yeah, it's expensive, right? If Night Veteran Brothers had a way of getting a decent gun against high def, then I think they would be fine. But as it stands, they only get access to their flamethrowers, their basic guns, their psychic silencers, which is just rending, and then the psychic cannons, which is AP2 blast 3.
Yeah.
So it's a list that's going to do really, really well if no one ever brings like 3 tough 12 guys, right?
Yeah.
If they bring 2 tough 12 guys, you might be able to deal with it. 1 tough 12 guy, you'll be fine. But because they kind of like lose to the skew lists, it makes them a bit more dicey. One thing I will say is, I ran in that tournament and in the narrative event, and I played against a guy playing all orcs, like a full orc skew list, right? Like literally just like 1,000 models on the board, right? Like most people don't have enough wounds to deal with it, right? And I absolutely cleaned up, right? Like there was nothing he could really do. So if you're looking for a list that counters that style of playstyle, Night Brothers is it, because teleporting heavy flamers with +1 AP is just like nothing else, right? Like that's really going to blow things up, especially with Versatile Reach now as well. Like Versatile Reach and +1 AP on their flamers has made them even more aggressive. And they lost regen as well, so they're even more aggressive on top of that. So yeah, it's a really, really fun list to play, but I think unfortunately it is a -5er. It looks a bit weird put next to like Jackals and High Elf Fleets and stuff, but I think overall probably I think Jackals go down. Yeah, I think they're better than High Elf Fleets as well, because I think they have the thing that High Elf Fleets doesn't have, which is the hyper aggression aspect. But yeah, better than base Battle Brothers, I think, because why would you run base Battle Brothers?
Whilst we're in this conversation, shall we move on to primes?
Yeah. So my stance on Prime is I think their list is okay. I think their list is outshone by Custodians, and I think their list is outshone by Battle Brothers. So I think all of the primes go in -5, apart from Watch, who get to use the nice Watch buff to make all their units playable. Because the one thing that Prime Brothers do have is 18-inch A2 shooting, which sucks for all of them, apart from for Prime Watch Brothers, who then turn that into 18-inch A2 AP1 and then all of a sudden it's really good profile. And they can do that with literally all their units. They have really so the Aggro Brothers, I think they're called. They're like they've got 6-inch flamers.
Yeah, and
AP4,
AP4.
AP4, yeah. So Watch is great with that, right? Because you either use +1 to hit on 2s for your AP4 melee things, or you give AP to your blast things, and you do that instead. So that one buff makes that unit so much better in both of its attack profiles. So I think Watch is the best for the Prime Brothers. I think you've put the... Oh, no, yeah, okay.
So Prime Brothers themselves... naff.
Yeah.
Knight Prime Brothers with them.
I think they're worse than Prime Brothers, yeah.
Yeah. Prime Dark Brothers are better than those two. I don't think they break out of the -5 bracket.
No.
I'm persuaded a bit by Prime Watch, but I also don't think they break out of the -5 bracket. I can be persuaded to put them at the bottom of 0.
Yeah.
Prime Wolf Brothers, that 3-inch mini hop puts them to the top of the -5 bracket or the bottom of the 0.
Yeah, that's fair. I would, with what we've got there, I think, put them to the top.
Top of this. Let's go. Are we going to let me? Are we going to go here? There we go. And then Havoc Brothers. Well, that is not at all what I wanted. This website. We'll just leave it like this for now. Right? Maybe Prime Dark a bit higher. You and I had an intense conversation earlier about Prime Blood Brothers, which I think are a 0%er. And I think they're better than Prime Watch Brothers. But in the context of the conversation we've just had, I think that is a really fair assessment of Prime Watch Brothers, that +1 to hit makes their base Prime Brothers really, really good. And I'm on board with that. Prime Blood Brothers, I just kind of pip as being better because of having Predator, having 6s as an extra attack. Yeah. But is that better than just +1 to hit? Don't know. Oh, it's a tough one. I mean, Prime Watch Brothers, I think, just end up being too expensive for me. And like,
they are quite expensive. That is fair. Yeah,
I'm all for expensive units. I'm all for paying more for good things, right? But is it too much?
I think we could basically leave them next to each other.
Yeah,
be satisfied. One's a slightly more discount option, one's a slightly more elite option. What I will say is, if you're looking to play, so Prime Watch Brothers, very quickly, if you want to play Watch Brothers like a normal Battle Brothers army, you play Prime Watch Brothers. Is basically how this works, right? You still get that kind of elite aspect because you've got the fortified, but you get like more normal units, right? If you're like really into like the watch aesthetic and you want that for your army, then I would play the Prime version of them if you're looking for that. But yeah, I think for the most part, Prime Brothers in general, what they need is a once over to give them more unique units in the same way Battle Brothers have.
Yeah.
I think they're just missing that.
They just need a bit more love. The problem they have is keyword soup is great. Look at Elven Jesters, for example. Shit tons of keywords make something really good, but shit tons of keywords on a 3/3 makes them really expensive. And when one of those keywords is -1 AP, it doesn't change the fact that a third of the hits that you've got coming in are going to be a wound. -1 AP on Custodian Brothers is a huge difference to -1 AP on Prime Brothers, where it's all def 3 up. You're just paying so much for units that if I just shoot you with 10 Jackals, I'm still going to be picking up good points trades. And that is a problem for all Prime Brothers. And then, yes, exactly what you say. Why am I taking a difference between two lists when they've all got nearly identical army books? It's because of the army-wide rules, but then you're just paying so much for everything else. Yeah, it's like their Desolation dude's like 245 points or something. It's crazy expensive.
You've got really, really expensive units as well. That doesn't help them either. Yeah,
really expensive units that don't reliably output proportionately to their cost.
I think the best way of playing Prime Brothers, I think, ends up being like Walmart fucking Custodians, basically, right? You just you take a bunch of like Def 2 guys that take fortified, and you can run with them like that.
There was a point in beta, and I think early 3.5 maybe, before some tweets came in, when I was linking like Wolf Prime Brothers lists and saying I, for one, welcome our new custodian skinned brothers of
it was
the
when
Prime
the spears
brothers.
got nerfed to like that bullshit rule.
Let's not talk about that. But yeah, they were looking like that. But then also now all Prime are Def 3 up. I think it's just made them just that bit not reliably defensive enough.
Yeah, the best thing that Prime Brothers got going for them is by far the Guard Brothers, who, as we say, are basically
cracking.
They're basically just custodians, right? So they've got 2 up defense, they've got shielded. They've got 2 up defense, they've got reinforced, which is -1 AP from over 8 inches away, so 9 inches away, which is exactly custodians at this point. They have fearless, which custodians have got. They've got melee slayer, which custodians don't have, right? For that 2 extra AP. And then they've got 4 attacks, or 3 attacks AP1, rending if you want to keep the 2 up defense. So they end up being like basically exactly custodians, but custodians have spears.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you get whatever Battle Brother like thing you want, right? Like you can have, your Blood one, your Prime one, you pick a buff, right?
Wolfguard and Blood Guard Brothers are some of my favorite units in the game.
Yeah, and like Prime, Watch ones are literally just veteran custodians, right? Like it was exactly the same profile, but only against tough 3 or plus.
Yeah.
So that is the best unit in the army. But then obviously it's really hard to make use of it in the same way custodians do, because you don't have teleport aura to like give them the mobility to then
regen aura.
You need to spend it on an APC and stuff.
Yeah. But then their APCs being tough 9 are really unique and quite good. Then they've also got aggro brothers, which do quite a lot.
It's just very, very expensive.
It's just very expensive.
Yeah, and they kind of suffer from the same custodian problem where, like, if you start bringing all these really great units like that, you bring the APCs, you bring the Guard Brothers, you bring the Aggro Brothers, you very quickly start to struggle against Horde, right? Someone just brings like 60 zombies, and you run in and you hit them 8 times with AP1 rending, and they go, all right, I'll take 8 zombies off, cool. And then the game keeps going. You're like, oh, well, next turn I'll do the same thing.
Exactly.
It just doesn't. Yeah, you run out of steam very quickly against that style.
Yeah. So I think this is a fair place to put all of our Prime Brothers. Cool. So after a bit of negativity, sorry, Prime Brothers, we love you really. Especially Puppet Swarm minis. That should be a swear jar for me. Let's bring in the Robo Legions. Now we are talking good here. We're talking high end.
Yeah,
top 5 mid. They're in the 5%ers, I think. I don't think they quite cut it into the 10%. Yeah. Where in the +5s do they go? I think they're better than Change Brothers. I think they're better than Saurians. Are they better than Ratmen Clans? I think so.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm happy to put these top 5% almost edging into the 10%.
Yeah.
I think what the Robot Legions have for their list is they just have. Every single unit is good, and they've got every role filled, and yeah, honestly, like, you can't really go wrong with Robot Legions. They've just got so much good stuff. Like, they've got one of the best transport aircraft. They've got an amazing AP4 Deadly 6 Walker. They've got really good base unit. They've got lots of like Def 2 6-up stuff going on in their list, which can really be a wall for some things.
They have a place in my heart because they have shit tons of tough 3 units. Like, they're just
really good tough 3 units, which now have unique roles as well.
I mean, exactly right. It's not
for
just
the first time ever.
Death by Snooze Snooze tough 3. You've got. I couldn't tell you the names of them all, but you've got like the Fragile Scout one, you've got the more resilient tanky one, you've got the ambushing one.
You can give it a go.
I really should. Destroyer snakes, robot snakes, Tri-Scorpions.
Yep.
There's one more other than swarms.
Yeah, it's whatever the Lord is also called.
Annihilators.
Yeah,
is that it? Hold on, let's bring it up.
And I think so. Robot snakes are the ambush. No, the scout ones, right?
Yeah.
They're quality 4 attacks rending.
Aren't they quality 3?
No, I think robot snakes are 4. Destroyer snakes
are call 3. You are right.
Yeah, they're the scout ones with A1 rending. And then the big weapon.
Robot snakes are 4/4s that are fast striders that can be A2 rending twice, so A4 rending. Destroyer snakes are the 3/4s with A4 AP1 shred and the 15-point scout upgrade.
Yep.
Annihilators are A4 AP1 rending strider duders with an ambush upgrade. And then you've got Tri-Scorpions, who are A4 AP1 shred with Ravage 2 attached to them.
And 3/3s.
And 3/3s. And Annihilators are 3/3s as well.
Yeah, so yeah, you've got like your ambush dudes, your scout dudes, your cheap dudes, your elite dudes. So they kind of all have roles now, which is pretty exciting. The one thing Robot Legions don't do is cast spells very well.
So this is what I was actually about to say. My comment on why they're not 10%ers is because they don't have easy access to Caster 3. I know they've got the Caster ridiculous Wraith Shard thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, is it the Wraith Shard? It might be something else. Great Monolith, Death Fortress.
Thing where you take wounds if you fail spell cast.
Is that still in there? Caster. They have a Caster 4. I'm looking at the list now because I had to cheat. Great Wraith Shard. Is that what I'm after? Caster 4. Oh, they've got rid of it. Yeah, in previous editions they had like the Caster 6, but you took damage if you failed, right? Now they've got 2 Caster 4s and a Caster 3. All in the Titans at the 725 plus point mark. So they don't have access to easy Caster 4.
That's a shame. One thing they do have,
Caster
which
3.
one thing they do have, which is kind of interesting, is on the Great Monolith, they have a bug. You can upgrade with up to 2 casting buff. Which I believe does nothing, right? You can't
put 2 on the same thing. Actually, maybe it's not a bug, because maybe it is just the ability in its single activation to give out 2 casting buffs.
It would have to be on 2 different models for that to work.
Yeah, so one on itself and one on another unit.
No, but I mean, can you have the same rule twice on a single model? The casting buff?
No fucking clue. No fucking clue. Into the feedback threads you go.
How does that work?
How does that work?
I'm adding one to my basket right now.
To your basket?
Upgrade 2 times casting buff. It says once per activation. I don't know, right? But yeah, I mean, when do you ever see 2 of the same buff on the
Rule of cool is adjudicating. You can do it. You obviously just can't do 2 casting buffs on the same dude. Although, hold on a second. Wait. I'm spending way too long on this. Great Monolith casting buff. Before attacking, pick a friendly model. You can just drop it on yourself twice.
Yeah, you can drop on yourself, use it, and then drop it again.
Drop on yourself, use it, and drop it again. I'm inclined to say that is legit.
Yeah, maybe it is. Either way, it's not coming into our consideration here because it's fucking loads of points. The rest of the list is great.
735.
The rest of the list is absolutely great. I'm
a
massive fan of it. They actually get a relatively cheap Lord as well. If you watched our last video about it was last video where I talk about how slow takes elite armies and makes them slightly more hoardy. They've got the same kind of vibe there as well. By having slow on their heroes, they actually get really cheap heroes.
Yeah,
like 45 points for a Def 2 hero is actually really cheap. Right, for something that can actually withstand hits. Right,
it's like Harvey's talking about the Robot Lord because it has shielded as its default loadout.
Yeah, so it's a 3/2, 3 wounds with a 6-up invuln, which is a really, really small. If you could compare it to the assassins from Human Inquisition, which cost like 350 points for the same thing, 250 points for the same thing, it's got basically the same defensive profile as some of them. It's got a 2-up, tough 3, 6-up invuln. That should just go to show it doesn't really have the same aggressor or maybe the same ability, but just having something that you can just put on objectives and doesn't necessarily die is kind of strong, right? Sometimes you just roll the right dice.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good. Especially in combination with the Night Transport, you can put 45 points, you put that guy inside it. If they destroy Night Transport.
Oh, mwah. For those of you who want to see the Night Transport in action, we did a bat rep a couple of weeks ago where I played against Harvey's Ogres in the tournament pack. And that Night Transport was just fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, if you put a hero inside a transport, when the transport gets destroyed, the hero comes out shaken and takes a dangerous terrain test. And assuming it lives the dangerous terrain test, assuming you're not living the worst possible existence, you can then just unshake the hero, right? Because it has an activator, most likely. Which means actually what you get is this really annoying combo of like, I finally killed your aircraft, and then you get a guy and you put it within 6 inches wherever you damn well please, and then you just inactivate it and you still contest objectives. And for aircraft, you can just, if the aircraft doesn't die, he just runs out and contests objectives. So you basically completely undo the whole negative to aircraft for 45 points.
It's so good.
So yeah, I think Robot Legions, solid top end 5%. I think.
Very close. If they had access to Caster 3, they'd be in the 10%. I think.
Yeah, I think they play too fair of a game to be 10% as well. Like most of their units are doing relatively fair things. They're really, really efficient, really, really good, really good quality, and they don't tend to fuck around quite a lot with Def 3. They just go straight to Def 2 because they know what's good.
Yeah.
But unlike DAO, which does like scout, blow up their guys really efficiently with lots and lots of damage, and you can't really do much against me if you got the wrong list. Robot Legion doesn't do that as much. You can win games against.
You can always play into Robot Legions, right?
Yeah.
You can't always play into DAO.
Yeah, because they're unlikely to just spam exclusively Def 2 units in Robot Legions. And so, like, even relatively low AP lists stand a decent chance.
Unless
this man about to bring.
I did again.
Also, we're talking base game, so we should talk my beloved round 3.
The round 3 strat, exactly.
We haven't mentioned this since I probably have. We haven't mentioned since the Robot Legion video we did forever ago now, almost a year, right? I think the channel's been kicking around for a little bit more than a year now.
Your and my first video was the 2nd of March, 2025.
Oh, so yeah, we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary.
Happy anniversary, honey.
Oh, I think that's so cute. If you make this for the video,
I've known him since we were 10 years old. We are way past this.
No, I know. We probably met in September as well. Disaster. So round 3 Robot Legions. They have access to the robot. What are they called? I just put robot. I just said robot in the hopes that it was right. What are they called? Some like
swarms.
Bot swarm maker. Forge spider.
Forge spider. Okay, you mean the guy who spawns in a unit of bot swarms.
Yeah, so it has access to spawn for bot swarms. It has ambush, right? So the whole play style, which has got slightly nerfed because robot's no longer a rule for Robot Legions at least. But basically, you just like grab a couple of those guys. Round 3, you just come onto the board with your really, really hard to move Def 2, 6-up regen ambush guys, and you try and just contest all the objectives and kill one and win on one objective. But you do it all round 3 because it's really fucking hard to kill a Forge Spider and a bunch of bot swarms that come out. So that's like the round 3 thing strategy. It only works in base game OPR. It only works in certain matchups and whatever, but it's one of those really
it's also fucking miserable.
Yeah, because obviously the game is you skip the first two rounds, and your opponent goes like, "Why are we even playing?" But really, really fun and unique is what it is, right? Like no other army can really do round 3 in the same way. So I think that also earns them a pip.
Yep. Lots of things going for the Robot Legions, and again, versatile army list.
Yep.
Lovely. Let's move on to the Infected Colonies. An army that in 3.4 we wouldn't spend so long deliberating on, but they have army-wide shred. They have a phenomenal army-wide. They have access to flying transport 11s. They have good chaff. They have good flamer units. These guys, I'd say they are the 5%ers.
I'd say they're the 5%ers, yeah.
I'd say they're above Change Brothers.
So they have access to a nice We Kill Deadly unit in the combination of Monstrous Tyrants and Corrupted Beasts in an aircraft. That's really good. Because their new army-wide shred army-wide shred interacting with their deadly from those units means you can blow up to 12s. It's one of those like super polarized maths thing where like you either like fucking one-shot the thing or you come away with doing the 3 wounds. But you've got some AP4 in there as well in the mix to make it good. They have super, super efficient flamethrowers. Their flamethrowers are like they're like dirt cheap. They're 5.5s, I think. Yeah. So for 80 points, you get three flamethrowers. So for 160 points, you get 6 flamethrowers with Relentless. So over 9 inches, they're getting extra hits. They're hitting on 2-ups. They've got Death 5. They've got Infected, which is the shred army-wide. So you've just got like a whole heap of shred flamers for so cheap. Absolutely great unit. And then apart from that, they kind of have the zombie thing going on. They've got a bunch of fearless, regen, slow zombies.
Infected zombies are great, right? 5/6s with regen and fearless. Like if you take 20 of them for 250 points, you could be doing much worse with your points.
Yeah, and they still have access to no retreat aura as well if you want to be doing those things with that unit as well. You probably don't, but yeah, very, very scary, very, very good. And then, even the dogs are pretty good, to be fair.
The hunters are great, right? Were the hunters the dogs?
Rabid dogs I'm thinking of.
Rabid dogs, okay.
Rabid dogs. So they're 4/5s, fast scout with infected, A2
That's
rending.
right.
So just a really, once again, aggressively statted kind of thing. I think the one weird thing about this list is that you think, like, obviously zombies are very, very defensive, right? They're very horde defensive style. But the rest of the list is basically like, because of having
flat out aggression.
Yeah, you just kind of go at them, right? So yeah, and yeah, I think the best play style for them is the airborne Ebola, as Fitz coined it, right? Which is basically just like, you bring a bunch of zombies, you bring a couple of aircraft, you fill the aircraft full of scary stuff, you walk forwards with all your shit stuff, they use all their activations, you fly over their head and you blow up whatever you want to blow up. Very, very good. And you can do a slightly like cheaper version of that with like flamethrowers and cars and zombies and one aircraft or whatever you want. It's a good list. It's very, very fragile. It's a very aggressive list. Anytime you hear, multiple transports, you can assume that the unit's going to die immediately on the snapback. But yeah, I think they're good. I think they're, I don't know. I think that, I think I'll five.
You'll get there. You're going to get there.
Yeah.
Don't edit this out.
Master, there's a reason you're there. 5%, our 5% category so far, I say there is very, very little in it between the 6 lists we've got here. Right, I think we're talking tiny percentages between them all.
I agree.
Think is probably deserve to be at the top, but I also think, like, because the play styles are so different across the 6 lists, really they're kind of like masters of their own domains. Right, they all like do the thing they're doing really, really well, and that puts them ahead of all the other armies. But when you compare them side to side, it's very hard to actually come up with a fair metric.
Yeah, I think I'm always reminded of back in my Magic the Gathering day. When you get tournament results and you get the top 8, which is, the top 8 players, which across like 50 or 100 people is fucking amazing success. Yeah. I'd always feel shit just looking at it. I'd feel really down on the game whenever 6 of the exact same decks were out there. Yeah. And if I saw a big OPR event and I saw these 6 armies in the top 8, in the quarterfinals and the semi-finals, I'd be thinking, holy fuck, I want to watch all of those games because they're all going to be so different. They're going to be different play styles, drastically different army lists. Even if you had like 2 Saurian lists in there, are those 2 Saurian lists going to be the same? Probably fucking not, right? They're going to be so different, especially robots. If you had 2 robot lists, like, one could be the round 3 strat, one could be all tough 3 dudes, one could be the slow inexorable tide of warriors. Like, they are very versatile army books, and it's nice to see. It doesn't make me think, oh fuck, we've got 6 copies of Watch Brothers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Good. Okay, so that is rounding out infected colonies, the dwarves. I'm just going to let you take the lead on this. You've played a lot more dwarves than I have. I think I've played 1 dwarf game in my life. Yeah,
so Dwarf Guilds, they're interesting because they can do full ambush, right? Like, not all the lists in the game can do full ambush quite as well. I actually spoke about them last week in the Playstyles and Archetype video. And I think did we show one of the lists, I think, for Dwarf Guilds?
We did, yeah.
And I think they play full ambush in an interesting way because it's very much like resource allotment, right? They don't really have that much burst, right? They've got quite like high defense units, so the burst tends to be a little bit lower. They're less efficient, aggressive stuff. So it's more about like, what do I need to put where to make this work over the course of the next couple of rounds? In the base game, obviously, full ambush is very strong. But I think Dwarf Guilds, for me, I think most Dwarf Guilds, as a result of it being that kind of resource allocation thing, I think they end up feeling relatively fair. I put them top end of 0%, but I don't think I'd go as far as 5% because I don't think they're doing things that the lists in 5% are doing. I think near HDF is where I put them. Yeah, I feel that the same kind of vibe as HDF in that you can probably build a list that does well against most things, but you're slightly more boxed into one of 2 play styles with Dwarf Guilds. I think you're either going mostly ambush or you're going much wider regen or take advantage of sturdy, like harder to move, lots of shooting style. And I don't think there's much else going on in that list there, whereas HF is always very, very flexible. I guess kind of similar to machine cults in a way.
Yeah.
Same vibes. But yeah.
Resilient, lots of bodies. Is there a caster round 3 list for Dwarf Guilds? Or is that kind of tied into the ambush strat?
I don't think so. I think unfortunately for first of all, they only get access to caster 2, which obviously for round 3 doesn't matter, right? because you get to 6 tokens. That's another thing we forgot to mention with the Robot Legion thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
I think there isn't a round 3 because I don't think they have the things you need to really make round 3 work. So one thing that makes round 3 really good for Robot Legions is you've got Spawn, which lets you go above activation cap, and lots of activations are hard to deal with when you have less rounds of the game to play with, especially stuff like Swarms, which are very point efficient. Dwarf Guilds don't really have that. And they actually struggle with their last couple of ambush units, right? They're not like the perfect ambush army because like they start to go like, oh, maybe I'll bring some jetpack warriors.
Once you drop the 2 tunnel drills filled with guys and the 2 miners, where do you go?
Power suit guards. Yeah, it starts to get a little bit messy. Yeah. So probably no round 3 strategy for these guys, but I think round 2 pretty decent resource allocation, ambush style, like not necessarily trying to blow things up, but just picking the right fights. But yeah, a very, very fair list, I think, right? Full ambush can feel quite hard to play against at times. And I think that's probably one of the main disadvantages of the base game, is that it's that full ambushes can be quite like not fun to play against, I guess, more than anything else. It's not actually that oppressive. It's just like
I'd like to play my game, and I don't want to sit and watch you play yours.
It's really annoying. It feels a little bit you go, I go sometimes, right? Because it's like they put down all their stuff in the perfect position where they take the least amount of damage back, and then you're forced to make the best of a bad situation, which isn't really fun. But yeah, that all aside, I think, top end of 0% is probably where they belong, right? They're starting to edge towards the 5% category, but I don't think they quite make it there. They don't quite have the profiles they need to really be in that category with some of the heavy hitters.
Yeah. Very good. Let's move on to discuss the demons, and we'll do all 4 of these at once. I'm inclined to put them top of 0. I don't think they quite eke into the 5. Well, hold on. I think that Demons of Change are in the 5%.
Yep.
I think the rest are in the 0s. I think Lust might actually be bottom of 0.
I think Lust can be -5. I think
I don't disagree.
The demons lists are Age of Fantasy lists for the most part, and they need something really good to beat that, right? To beat those kind of like shackles they have, really. I think War is I think it goes Change, War, Plague, and then Lust.
I think it's like Plague bottom of 0.
Yeah, and it's really
high.
Difficult terrain buff is the only thing keeping Demons of Plague even in the 0.
I agree, strongly.
Yeah, Demons of War have got some really nice, just like we bring big guys strategies, right? Like you just bring like big charging guys with
Demons of War have got amazing tough 12 avatar dudes, and they have tri-hounds.
The one below it.
The one below, Ascended Harbingers.
Yep.
Harbingers, not Harbringers. There's no R in that word, people. Please stop. And they've got tri-hounds. They've got tri-hounds in their list, which tough 9 is this really sweet spot to play with. And then they've got that awkward unwieldy buff where the opponent has to fail a morale check to get it.
But it's not unwieldy, it's fatigued.
It's fatigued, sorry, you are right. It is fatigued.
Which makes it obviously much, much scarier. Very good in certain matchups.
Very good.
I think where War shine is they have Bloodhounds, which are a good scout unit.
Really good, yeah.
Tri-hounds, which are a 3/3/9 with Destructive Frenzy, so they get 8 bonus AP as they do more stuff.
Yeah.
So I think those are nice units, and then they have
and those top 9s are all maxing on Balval. I think they output at A12.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then just the whatever the one below Avatar's called. I have no idea.
The Ascended Harbinger.
Oh yeah, you said it.
Even the Harbingers are good at tough 6 with Caster 3 and Ambush Auras. Like, they can do a lot. It's a good spell list, I think, as well, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. The problem the demons have really is that their chaff or their like core units are very Age of Fantasy coded.
Yeah.
So they end up being very, very underwhelming. And it's where Demon of Change, that's why they can go up to 5%, because the split change horrors is so unique. It's like I said with Ratmen Clans before, with Saurian Starhosts, having a unique rule or like a unique unit in that way can really, really push your army higher up, because it's hard to deal with, right? It's hard to prepare for. It's a level of power that most lists just don't simply have access to. Like no list apart from Change can go all horrors and make you deal with like 400 wounds, right? Like it's the ultimate in full swarm if you want to go for it. There are ways of playing around it, but it's really hard and it doesn't do that much damage output. But you can absolutely go and paint 400 change horrors if you really want to, and live that dream. So even if you didn't do our round 2 go, all casters, 1,000,006 at AP2, try and wipe out as much in one go as we like to sell. Even if you went full swarm and did the change splitting thing, you would still find success and a unique strategy that's going to win because it's so heavily skew.
Yeah.
So that really
and there are going to be people who've been playing wargaming since the 90s who will have 400 models to use for that. Please never play me in an event. That is terrifying, and I do not want to face it. But it is something to go with. I think one of the things as well.
Sorry, go on.
Finish about Demons of Change.
Okay,
mine's a generalist point.
Demons of Change are a perfect candidate for model agnostic. Okay, because nobody wants to paint that many demons, right? But getting little fluffy things and sticking them on sticks takes a fraction of the time, and you can very quickly get 1,000,000 of these guys up and going. So they're the perfect mini agnostic army. If you're going for full swarm stuff, just buy some little fluff things and stick them on bases and just go that is that is a changeling. That blue fluff is a changeling, and I've stuck 3 of them together to make a lesser changeling, a lesser change horror, and I've stuck 6 of them together in a ball to make a greater one. And that's it. No painting required. Just 1 day spent with some PVA glue and a lot of doing this after it, just pulling that shit off your fingers.
So Demons of Change at the bottom of 5%. Demons of War, middle of 0%. Demons of Plague, bottom of 0, and the other ones, that's really bad. Demons of Lust into the minus 5%.
Yeah, I think even probably the bottom of 5%. I don't think they deserve to be at the top. I would start to go towards 10% with them. I really would.
It's that point. So this is the generalist point, right? That when you're building a list and you get through the Ascended Harbingers and maybe a Harbinger, you just kind of draw up short a little bit. Now, Demons of Lust, actually, maybe we're doing them too dirty because they have the mirrors, and the mirrors are cool, and they have access to mind control. I actually don't think they are bottom. I think they are close to the top because of mind control. I think they are better than Havoc Brothers, but their list can feel really shit when you just don't have good quality core units.
Yeah, I think if this was an AOF one, then they would probably be 5% because all those rules start to get really, really good. The mirrors start to get really, really good against the.
Harvey not realizing he's dabbing.
Right, it's the Lust Demon dab. They start to get really good in AOF, but I think in GDF they do struggle a little bit doing stuff.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on. Harvey's been talking about it all video long. The floor is yours. Where are we putting the Dark Elf Raiders?
I think the Dark Elf Raiders sit happily next to the Elven Jesters. I think they're very similar lists. I think they have the one thing that puts the Dark Elf Raiders and the Elven Jesters next to each other is they both have kind of similarish tricks. They're doing the same thing, but the Dark Elf Raiders do it with court henchmen who have the Human Inquisition double move thing with 4 attacks AP3. They come out, they blow up a unit, they activate again, they blow up in the unit, right? Really great use of it. The Elven Jesters do that with ambush redeploy.
Yep.
Happens over 2 rounds instead of 1 round, but very similar strategy. I think the Dark Elf Raiders have somewhat of the Custodian problem where they can't do it mass hordes. But the thing about jet bikes is that it's really hard for horde armies to kill jet bikes, because most horde armies tend to be more melee oriented, less AP. Def 2 kind of helps with that, and having high speed means you can basically avoid stuff. But yeah, for Dark Elves there's definitely one play style, and that is take a bunch of transports and stall out the game and hope to do enough damage in round 1.
All in the bikes and try and blow someone up. And
and I always say it's round 1. It doesn't have to be round 1, right? You can just move your bike slightly round 1, and you can move 3 inches closer and then do it for round 2 if you want to, right? There's no obligation to make it a round 1 strategy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really, really tricky play style, and some lists it can't pay off against, and the list where it does pay off against, it'll feel really oppressive to your opponents. But yeah, I mean, it's totally up my alley. I think if you're playing them I think they belong next to Elven Jesters because they have the same kind of style. But I mean, by the same metric, I could totally see them being thrown all the way down to the bottom of 0%. Because I think they are really, really hard to play. I think the payoff is nowhere near as high as some of the lists.
They are high risk. Is the reward as high as the risk? I don't know. Like you can
for court henchmen, 1,000% it is, right. Court henchmen
they are terrifying, right?
One of the strongest units in the game by far. But if that unit didn't exist, then you'd be back down to like true witches.
Yeah.
Which are scary, but not in the current OPR state, right? Like you need to be able to deal with tough 12, and true witches are just eating shit.
I mean, they've got a lot of good things going for them, but if you fuck up with Dark Elf Raiders, you're gonna lose a lot. But we said it with Human Inquisition, that army-wide rule is so powerful, and now let's target it in the Dark Elf Raiders on some very good units, being one hero and one high damage output. They're blocks of 3, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they can juice Balval to shit tons and just double move with that, wipe out 2 things. Like those court henchmen are really scary. If you're facing down some Dark Elf Raiders with court henchmen, be careful. Be ready to try and alpha strike the fuck out of whatever boat they're in. Because otherwise they will ruin you. If you can, right? Because you can get, is it tough 9? Is that the heavy boat?
No, the heavy boat doesn't have transport, unfortunately.
Oh, does it not? Okay.
So it's stealth, 2 defense, 20-inch movement, Strider. The Dark Elves Raiders remind me of sometimes in video games you have things or metas and strategies where the best advice people give you for dealing with them is to go play it. Right? They go like, well, go play it, and then you'll have an understanding of how, like, the difficulties you face when you play it, and then therefore when you're on the opposite side of the table, you can then know how to counter it, right?
Yeah.
You know, like you think about like for MTG, Hearthstone decks, whatever, right? It's always like that. You're like, oh, I hate playing Handlock. I go play Handlock. Oh, what the fuck? I lose to Hunter.
Yeah.
I hate Handlock. I just play Hunter. Don't quote me on that. It's been a long time since I played Hearthstone. I do love Handlock.
It's been like fucking 8 years.
Forever, right? But I was a legend, so I'm basically an expert at the game. And so yeah, Dark Elf Raiders is one of those, right? Like I think when you first, like, so we've got a video on the channel, our Dark Elf Raiders review that we did back in 3.4. If you skip to the end of that video, there's a game that me and Dave played, and it's the first time Dave ever played against Dark Elves. And we sat down to play the game. We're just shooting the shit, talking away. Dave puts his minis down the line. I put minis down the line. I go stall. I go in. I wipe out, like, Dave
half
had one
the fucking army, right?
You had a Hive Lord and army in ambush. I walk in. I just kill literally everything. And Dave went, I'm gonna scoop, right? Like I can't. Like
I remember that game so well, right?
Yeah.
Like I sat down. It was the middle of a Saturday. I'd rushed to get here. I just didn't think when I was deploying.
No,
I hadn't played against
99% of armies in the game. You don't need to think that much when you're doing deployment.
Exactly, and I just kind of put everything on the line and went, "Oh fuck, I'm dead."
Yeah, just instantly died. And that's that. So the surprise factor of Dark Elf Raiders makes them more potent. Dark Raiders makes them more potent than perhaps they deserve to be. Everyone's first time playing against them, they're like, "What's going on here?" Right? Like I watched a game the other day between Rob and Mikos from our Discord, and I gave Rob a Dark Elf Raiders list, and I kind of roughly explained what he needed to do to him. And Mikos spent the whole game going like, what's happening? I don't understand what's happening. I'm just scared. I don't understand. Something bad's about to happen. I know it's about to happen. Then when it starts happening, he goes like, now I see it. Now I understand it. But you have to see it first to really get a feeling for what you can do against it. But yeah, I think really they're a -5 faction. Right.
With court henchmen.
Yeah. So truthfully, yeah, I think they're probably a -5 faction, but I think they have a 0% faction potential if you're playing them to their absolute best, which obviously I don't do, but like the potential for outscaling someone with this is really high.
I don't think we're too fussed about a bit of bias here at this point in the depth into the video. And if someone comes out and goes, I can't win with Dark Elf Raiders, because they are a fucking finicky faction to play with.
So finicky, yeah. And also, to be said, like, the true warriors aren't that bad. There are other playstyles you can play into. They do get access to 2 hits, AP4, 18-inch range on their true warriors, and then they have harassing, which lets them dodge behind line of sight, right? So you can do some tricksy stuff with shooting, and depending on the matchups, you can win off the back of that. There probably is a fair and rounded Dark Elf Raiders list that could perform okay, but I think if you're playing fair, rounded Dark Elf Raiders, then you're at the bottom of -5%.
Yeah,
it's only this one strategy that even brings you close to being middle ground.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the Eternal Dynasty. Now, this is an army that I think is probably high 0%. I'd say I'd probably put them slightly below HDF, that might be being a bit too critical of them, but I think that they're a really reasonable army. They've got some really good top end. Ninjas and their walkers are doing a lot for them. They are inhibited by not having access to Caster 3, but they've got swarms. They've got really good cyber dogs. What are they called? Cyber
lizards.
Cyber lizards. Oh, they're cyber lizards. How can I forget? Yeah. Their army wide is very potent. I don't know how much more there is to say, but I'd say that I'd put them maybe above Machine Cults.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the Eternal Dynasty problem is they tend to be a little bit expensive. They're kind of like, they've got that like middling eliteness thing that Robot Legions kind of have, but Robot Legions have more eliteness, right? Like,
yeah,
like the Onis, right? They can like ambush and they can get cool plasma fists, and you can get 12 AP4 hits on them. With their army wide, they've got like 2.5 quality, and you know they come down, they do some shit. I guess more than 2.5 because it's quality 3 on the second attack, but either way, 2.33 recurring. And they're like 500 points for that, right? And that is a super scary unit, and it'll do a lot to a lot of things, but everything they do ends up being a bit expensive. And they have Vengeance, which is a rule. It's a weird one. When we did our beta reviews for Eternal Dynasty, I don't know if this still exists. Let's go on this adventure together, listeners and Dave. They used to be able to get a Dynasty leader with like ambush shenanigans. Yeah, so Ninja Master. So it's only casted 2, and I think has their spell list taken a hit?
They have got 9 hits at 12-inch range.
Yeah, so the idea was you'd take a Dynasty leader, you'd give him caster, you give him ambush, stealth, teleport, and you give him vengeance, which is now 20 points, which I don't remember being 20 points when we talked about this through. Maybe I'm talking nonsense. But the idea is you'd basically have this really annoying unit that's got caster and can do stuff and teleport onto points, and that's frustrating. And if you kill it, you get vengeance. And I don't know. Like I think the best way to play vengeance is you load up warriors with shotguns.
Yeah, you juice them up with shotguns or carbines.
Yeah. You give them shotguns and you run them into the opponent with double vengeance, and you hope your opponent blows up the threat in front of them, and then you come down with some ambush ninjas the second turn, and you use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, when I talked about doing this video with Dave, I was like, what in my head is like the true 0% list, right? Like if we're gonna do like
a great way of putting it.
Yeah, like if we're gonna do this scale, right, where we have like 0% and then 5 and 10 and so like that, what's the one we could start with at 0? And I was like,
Eternal Dynasty. I absolutely agree. And like I think it was, I didn't have this conversation with you, but one of the reasons I didn't want to do S, A, B, C, whatever named tiers is because people do focus on B and go, that's pretty crap. Whereas we want to emphasize that this middle ground is really still very good. And I completely agree that Eternal Dynasty fit this category so well as being a well-rounded, well-balanced army. I'm not terrified of them, but I'm also not disrespecting them in any way because
I'm keen to play against them, right? Like if I saw someone who had an ED list and they're bringing it against me, I'd be like, oh, sweet, yeah, I'm excited about playing that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that when you get that feeling going into a game, it normally means the list you're playing against is probably well balanced. So yeah, like because when I sat down, I was like, okay, what's my top end, what's my bottom end, what's my middle? And I was like, well, it's AH, it's Eternal Dynasty, and it's Rebel
Guerillas.
Right, and that's the scale we're working with here. So yeah.
Bro, let's have a look at the Soul-Snatcher Cults then. I want to put them kind of bottom of 0. They might fall into a -5% if they didn't have so many units with Call 3.
Yeah, Call 3 is a massive boon to them. I think Soul-Snatcher Cults, can be a 5%er in certain metas, right? Like if your local meta doesn't emphasize a lot of tough 12 def 2 stuff, then I think they stand the chance of being really, really scary. The problem Soul-Snatcher Cults have got is they've not got a great way of getting good AP.
No, they really don't.
Which can be a bit of a death sentence for lists.
You rely heavily on your casting list because they've got 2 or 3 hits with Deadly 3 at the top end.
It's still
3 hits with AP,
but
it is only AP2 and it's at 6-inch range. But you have a Supreme Leader in there with caster 3 in your unit of snatchers or elite snatchers. Oh no, it has to be one and not the other now. I can't remember the exact ordering of which one has ambush. But you have it, you bring the caster 3, you take mind control shenanigans, and you can play that game, but you have to skew heavily into it to be ready for something that I think is quite a generalist strategy at the moment.
Yeah. One thing I will say about Soul-Snatcher Cults, which I think probably keeps them in 0%, is we're talking base game here, and ambush is a thing in base game. And Soul-Snatcher is a really good counter to things trying to use ambush, because you deploy 9 inches forwards, you play transports or scout. Your opponent can't stop you really from being in their face and forcing that round one like fight when they've got their ambushes still away, right? And it doesn't. And most people, I would say, when they're running ambushes, tend to run like Destroyer plus Champion, right? Which are these like 400-ish point ambush units, right? You think like, you know, shifters and high elf fleets, you think destroyers, right? Is that like 400, like a Hive Lord, whatever? 400, 500 points worth of ambush tends to be where people tend to play, which is a large chunk of someone's army to not be on the board when you're fighting. So I think Soul-Snatcher Cults have that advantage there, where if you're playing an aggressive Soul-Snatcher Cult list, you can catch some people off guard, and if they do still choose to ambush, you can win the game off a little bit of early game snowball. Their 9-inch deploy thing forwards isn't amazing, but what it does do, it also opens up a lot more line of sight play, where your line of sight might not be perfect when you're in your deployment zone, but maybe if you're a couple of inches forward, you could do a better bit of hiding. But
yeah, if it was 12 inches, it'd be broken. Well, not broken, but it would be more than 3 inches stronger than it is now.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at least 3 inches stronger. I think if we're being completely fair, increasing the range by 3 inches.
I'd say it's a clean 0.1 inch stronger than 3. I think it is more than the sum of its parts. If it were 12. Good. But it's not.
It's not 12,
and
no.
They don't have it. And the ability to not scout with this army, or the inability to do what they used to and scout fully with this army has hindered them somewhat.
Yeah, I think so. This is an army that has tricks like a lot of the 5%ers, but is lacking AP to put it in the position with them, I think, right? It's lacking a reliable way of dealing with death too. If you go back and watch the previous video we made about archetypes and playstyles, I featured a Soul-Snatchers like control style list there, using like redeploy and mind control, and that should show you some of the potential of a list like that. It's got interesting stuff. But I think without like a really decent AP source, it just leaves them a little bit trailing. So they become like a 0%, which is fun to play against because they've got cool tricks and stuff's going on, but not, it's not, it can't really leverage those tricks in a good enough way.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think looking at the bottom of our 0%, they're kind of similar to Demons of Plague, I guess, in a way, right? Low AP with some tricks.
Yeah.
So they're okay there. But like what I will say, right, like is, you could move Soul-Snatcher Cults left 7, and I don't think I would complain, right? But they can also stay where they are, right? Realistically, right? Like these tiers, we are ordering them to say which is best and which is worse. But once again, we're talking very, very small differences here, right?
Yeah. And back to that point at the start, Soul-Snatcher's Cults, or well-played Soul-Snatcher's Cults, can absolutely destroy an Alien Hives list.
Yeah,
right?
And if you look Dwarf Guilds and Soul-Snatcher Cults in the same tier here, right? If those two lists played against each other, right, and Dwarf Guilds went ambush and Soul-Snatcher Cults went scout, it would be a really weird game.
Yeah.
And there's no saying who would win out over in that matchup there. And maybe it's really favoured in one way or the other way. Maybe the ambush wins if they're all ambush, but if they're not all ambush, then the Soul-Snatcher Cult wins and stuff. So there's a lot of complexity in terms of matchups here. We're trying to rate these guys in terms of like the books, and I think Soul-Snatcher Cults is missing some key tools.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Sisters are doing it for themselves. I want to put them here. I want to put them at bottom of 5, but I don't feel good them being top of 0. I think they're better than top of 0. I don't think they're quite into the 5%. I think they're an army that would really benefit from having a tier 2.5%.
I think Blessed Sisters in base game are not 5%. I think in tournament play, tournament pack, I think they are 5%ers. But yeah, they can live amongst the Dwarf Guilds, human defense force thing, right? Like we did our review of them the other week. I think they've got some really nice stuff in there, right? You make some really decent lists. You spam some Novice Sisters. You bring some heavy.
I'm biased, having
rifles.
recently won an event with them, I think, which is a fair point. So I'm reveling in how good they can be.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that the combination of Infernal APC, which is tough 9, def 2, bunch of flamers, and a bunch of fusion people inside it, is really just like a kill whatever you want on the board thing.
It's great. And exploiting sixes and
and then decent scout units and decent chaff. Like I think they definitely deserve to be like top end of 0%. I just don't know if they go up to the 5% in a base game scenario.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that point.
Where some of that like burstiness can not matter as much, right? Like bursting onto the board and forcing your opponent off the points and winning there is all well and good. But in a longer style game, actually, your fusions just coming out and maybe fluffing their shots and dying means you might get counter snowballed and then you lose the game. Whereas in progressive, you probably gain enough points from them that first round where the opponent forced their hand.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, they can live in that area there. Yeah.
Happy for them to be there. Orc Marauders. I think base game, we're in a similar region to the Blessed Sisters.
Me too,
not down there. Oh, is this even going to let me? Yeah,
yes, it's all right.
I think they're in and around now. Obviously, another pound in the swear jar to say that Fitz is going to demand they're up here. They do have speed feet, which is unfair. So they do have tricks. Their berserkers are incredible. They can flood the board with all ferocious duders just doing a shit ton of really good things. They can really squeak out point effectiveness because of lots of bad shots in the army. But they are still... I think it's when the trike got nerfed and couldn't teleport anymore. That's what brought it down for me.
Yeah, it wasn't the trike that could teleport, but it was the combat cart or whatever it's called.
Whatever it was. When that thing lost teleport, ruined it. Orcs were ruined.
I know, yeah. Heartbreaking. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from by putting them in 0. I think they're very, very similar to Blessed Sisters. They've also got the same rule as Blessed Sisters.
Yeah.
I think having a feat makes them better. Because I think they do a lot of Blessed Sister stuff, but slightly better because of having speed feet.
I don't think they have easy enough access to Blast and Deadly. And I know, again, the trike, right? The trike covers it off really well, and they've got Flamer.
They have the Alien Hives thing, right? Where they have really good access to AP4, right?
Yeah, they do. All of their upgrades are the exact same. Like Blast,
exactly right. Yeah. So
AP4, A2, AP4.
I think Orcs, I would be happy pushing them up because I think they do play a horde really well. And I think just like extra hits on 6s is really good. Berserkers are just like so point efficient.
Berserkers are fantastic. Tough 9 hero guy.
Yeah, don't forget they've got stuff like veteran specialists, right? Which are heavy flamers with double blowing up 6s, like with 5s and 6s blowing up.
Do they come with the boost cooked into them?
They do, yeah. And they've got the limited blast weapons in there as well, right? Like,
yeah,
there's lots of things in the Orc list that you kind of like subtly forget about until someone's. And also, like, their trucks, right? Their trucks have got speed boost and strider.
Yeah.
So they're 20-inch strider transports, right? And there's loads of things in the list that really like that. They've got really cheap melee walkers, right? The melee walkers are they're basically stripped down to exactly what you really want.
4-2s, right?
They're 4-2s, Fear 2, ferocious, so the exploding 6s, and then
like
they can just take a bunch of AP4.
Points.
Yeah, it's 305 points for 8 AP4 attacks, 4 AP1 attacks, right? Like that's so cheap for what it is. So I think overall they're kind of doing good things. So I think base game I put them bottom of 5%. I think because I think they are better than Blessed Sisters. Yeah, it makes you kind of reconsider Plague Brothers as well at that point. I feel like maybe Plague Brothers should come up.
Yeah, I don't think they're better than Plague Brothers is the thing.
I think I could see both of them going up because I think Plague Brothers, they just do that. Yeah.
Because Plague Brothers have that difficult terrain debuff and such good access to it.
Right?
And dangerous terrain, of course, but difficult being one of the things that puts them above the other brothers. But I don't think... See, I'd be minded to bring Change Brothers down 1 and Change Demons up.
I think if Plague had better access to their difficult terrain thing, right? Because they don't have actually that many great ways of doing it. I don't think.
No, it's their casters, right? But
it's just their casters,
take
right?
The caster 2 plague cultists, cultist heroes.
Yeah, so you've got like a cheap way of getting access to it, right? Like 75 points or whatever. It's just a lot of like, applying debuffs everywhere for change very, very unorthodox playstyle. But I just think Orc Marauders deserve to be up there.
Okay.
I think, I think they're just, to me, like I look across the 0% and I go like, I think they are better than everything in 0%. And that makes me go like, okay, well, do they belong in 0% then? Or are they really a 5%er?
Okay.
Play Brothers, I'm kind of back and forth on. It does depend a little bit on your meta, right? Like if you can make use of difficult terrain debuff, obviously it can be very, very, very potent.
Yeah.
But if people aren't running the lists that care about those things, then it's less of a concern.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, and the final army, the Goblin Reclaimers. We've made it. 3 hours later. Bottom of 5%.
Yeah. So Goblin Reclaimers, the one thing they have going for them is actually they can be really, really point efficient. Now you lose a lot of agency to get them there, but that is kind of interesting, unique to them, right? Like if you go like, is it shooter mobs? Yeah. So you go shooter mobs. They're 100 points for 10 of them. They hit on 5s. For an extra 20 points, they hit on 4s.
Yeah, you give
for
them
an extra
good
15 points, you get instinctive, which removes your ability to do anything with it apart from just basically shoot the whole game. That makes them go on a 3-up. And then you can put 2 AP4 Deadly 3 guns in there for an extra 30 points. So you come into like 180 points or whatever it is for 3 6s, right? With 6s are rerolled. So those Deadly 3s
on the defense,
on AP4 are actually like fucking blasting fools, right?
Absolutely
like,
rinsing.
You hit and they're doing stuff. And that's still a relatively cheap unit.
Yeah.
So I think there are legs. Instinctive is a crippling rule, right? You really, really pay the cost for it, right? Because especially for shooting units, if someone's in range of you, and it doesn't matter if only one model's in range or a full 10 models in range, you stand still and shoot, right? And you can't do anything else. So it's a really, really crippling rule, and it gives your opponent a lot of opportunities to play around it. And also what they can do as well is like if you can charge or shoot. So if you can stand somewhere where they don't have line of sight, but they can charge, they have to charge. Right? So you can really manipulate that rule. But I think instinctive, it makes for an interesting play style for Goblin Reclaimers, really, where they can kind of hit above their weight. They can get that hyper aggressive statting, right? Because like good shot plus instinctive for like shout shotgunners means you're doing a lot of damage, and the Def 6 matters not so much because realistically you were just going to stand there and shoot anyway. So I don't hate Goblin Reclaimers, but I think they kind of fall. They're like Night Brothers, right? Where I think you could bring them to a game day and do really well as long as you come across things that aren't playing around them or can play around them. Because if they fight you face to face, then you can use instinctive and get really good value out of it. But outside of that, you're kind of like left with a bunch of really shit, like no great deadly, no great AP.
They suck it against Titan Lords.
Yeah. Well, they start to suck it. I mean, I really think that AP4 Deadly 3 thing is really not bad for the points cost for killing big things.
Yeah.
But you absolutely have to model your special guns with instinctive, right? Because it honestly, it changes the game so much. But I still agree. I still agree that where you put them is right. Because I think if playing against a good opponent, they can really, really take advantage of instinctive. And if you don't run instinctive, I think they then fall into the -5 category anyway. So like I'm happy with them to be there, down in the depths.
Down in the depths. And that does it. We've managed to reach the end of the Don't Think Just Charge tier list for 3.5.2. It's been a good chat. It's been nice to see. And I don't look at this and I think I grossly dislike anything. Most of the things are in the 0%er, and I think that's right. And it really is a case of saying that when we talk about the top of the -5 and the bottom of the 5, these things are actually like a percent or so outside of 0, but we're not dealing with 0.5%ers to have a category for every army, because that is insane.
Yeah.
Most importantly, though, What do you think about that? Are you aggrieved that we've put your beloved goblins down in the -5? Let us know. At the same time, are we full of shit for having alien hives in the over 10% category? Always happy to hear it. As a final point before we sign off, at the point you're watching this, we might have done it, but as it stands at the time of recording, we're like 5 subs away from 1,000 subs.
Yeah.
Please click the subscribe button down below. Give the video a thumbs up and join the comments, but really click the sub. We're so close. This close.
If we make it before I release this video on Saturday, I'll just rename it to 1,000 subscriber special.
Yeah, there we go. And then those of you who get this far in know we're full of shit again. So that about covers it off.
Yeah, I do want to say one last thing as well. So obviously, it's very easy when you see a tier list to go, okay, I'm going to read from the top to the bottom, and then I know the rankings for what's good and what's bad. And I think you do have a slight disservice, right? Like I kind of made a point there at the end with Goblin Reclaimers, which we have placed technically 3rd worst army in the game, right? Technically. But if you view it like that, I think you miss some of the nuance of these armies and the different things they have available to them, right? Because I don't think Goblin Reclaimers are the 3rd worst army in the game, right? I think they sit within the -5% category, and they're like slightly worse than average for most, but they're actually pretty decent, right? And how you build your list, I think for basically every list here can shift you up or down a bracket, right? And how you play it can shift you up or down a bracket, right? So really, everything on this list is viable, I would say, right? I think Rebel Guerillas is probably the only list in here where I would just highly recommend playing Human Defense Force. The rest of them, if you want to go and play and make a list with one of these, you can beat any list on this list with any list on this list pretty decently, right? You can outplay anyone. Like, you can run your Goblin Claims, like you said, against your alien hives, and you can absolutely destroy an alien hives player and cackle as you do it. But yeah, this is just kind of like our general instincts as to where things go and what we've kind of experienced through our playing it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it though, because honestly, that was fun to record.
That was a lot of fun. On that note, we'll sign off. I'm Dave, he's Harvey. This is Don't Think, Just Charge, and thank you for watching.